All right, everybody, step lively, step lively. Just file very nicely into the room. Just find a comfortable place to sit. I've managed to find uh, a few human-shaped chairs for you guys to partake in.
You say human shaped like it's uncommon.
Well, I mean, it's uncommon for me. I don't see the comfort in it. I would like to just sit in a nice cozy laundry basket, something like that.
I've seen where you sleep. It's just a box, just a cardboard box.
I mean, you know, do you know how hard it is to get cardboard in a medieval time period?
It is
Fair
one of
enough.
the nicer modern inventions.
Yeah, I mean, that thing is probably as good as gold these days. Gold that has an Amazon smiley face on it.
Something something comment about Amazonian something something.
Something, something. Curse those Amazons and their cornering of the free mail order market.
Well, that just sounds bad.
Yeah. Well, I've already said the worst things. Okay, well, yeah,
That's fair.
we're going to go ahead and we're going to have our funding yanked now.
This was funded.
Huh?
I was not told that this would be funded.
Oh, well, I'm
Not
sorry.
anymore.
Yeah, sorry, you're breaking up there, Otto. Okay, we're live. Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to Brainy the RPG Cat, which is who I am. And today is a very special episode of the show because I have my adventuring party with me. So, over here to my left, this is Sandrusgid. He is,
Hello.
yeah, he is a draconic sorcerer. He's absolutely not emo.
No, not at all.
No, not at all. No, no, no crawling in my skin. No, no Nickelback at 3 a.m. in the morning.
Excuse me, I do actually really like Nickelback.
Oh, okay. Well,
Like,
okay. Well,
don't talk bad about them, all
yeah, I've
right?
already spoken too much. I'll say it's over here. To my right is Harkham Chapel. She is the ranger with the grill.
Quite right.
Yeah. It says I don't understand why she wears that mask, and she's not willing to tell any one of us, why she wears that mask. But
Let's just say when a troll punches you straight in the jaw, you have a hard time chewing and swallowing.
I see. Well, gosh, I feel really bad right now. I've been making fun of somebody's terrible injury.
It's quite
Horrific
alright.
injuries
You
are
should see the troll.
Well. And over here,
horrific
the big guy
injuries.
in the background is Otto. Um, full name is escaping me at the moment. Can you help me out here, Otto?
Greetings, Autodoc, Blue 37
Hut,
at your
hut,
service.
hike. So he's our cleric and he's our healer, which is it's pretty awesome to have a healer this big and virtually indestructible.
Oh shoot, cleric? Cleric of who?
Domain,
What?
life
Uh,
domain, unit 237.
Life domain.
Uh,
Uh, mm,
I
uh,
can appreciate that. I can get behind that. That I can. I can. I already said it. You got me, buddy. We could be friends.
yeah, you got our back. We understand that. You also might accidentally step on me if you're sleepwalking.
don't get underfoot.
Yeah. So I invited the crew today to prevail probably the most modern form of the thinking man's fielder that we have, which is going to be YouTube. We're going to be watching some D&D related YouTube, and I'm sure it's going to be great. I mean, I'm sure you guys got some favorite D&D YouTube channels that you watch all the time, right?
Honestly, you got my favorite one right here in the queue that I'm looking at here, Mr. Joe Cat.
Mr. Joe Cat.
Ah, I
Say,
watched Demon
a
Slayer.
man
Like,
after my own species.
I watch a lot of DM Lair. I like Crispy's Tavern, the Den of the Drake. Mostly the horror stories. Those are the most fun for me.
I'm a big fan of Guinea Die. Don't at me, bro.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Well, I'm gonna see why you like Guinea Die here in a few hour. In like 1 hour, yeah.
Yeah, I'm bound to actually have some of her videos here. Alrighty, so let me see. We got to talk about our sponsor, of course. I forget my own chat code sometime. Okay, so we are partnered with Great Games LLC to bring you inexpensive TCG single cards. Be sure to visit the link and use the code 10finity at checkout for 10% off your online purchase. Buy some TCGs. Buy some TCGs. The cat in your stream commands you to buy some TCGs.
That is an excellent method of sales. I think I'm going to borrow that.
Oh yeah, sure. It's all yours. It probably hasn't done me any good. And also, we are still looking for our first 50 followers in this stream. So be sure to get your official follower fish sticks by becoming one of the first 50 followers of the stream. Follow us and then go to twitter.com/BrainyTheRPGCat to pick up your free PNG. Use it on Instagram. Use it on Facebook. Or just dip it in some tartar sauce and just chow down like I usually do.
I was going to say, you're giving away free food and you expect people to take pictures of it and post it all over the internet?
Isn't that what Instagram was invented for?
All right, you got me. You got
touche.
me.
Yes. All right, so without any further ado, let's go ahead and let's head over to the magic screen in the library, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to watch some D&D YouTube.
Excellent.
So I bet you have never seen a library so amazing and awesome and filled with magic before.
I'm still concerned about the poof that we just experienced.
Well, don't worry about that. Is that, as long every time that happens, just make sure that you count all your fingers and you count all of your toes and make sure that they are all there and they are also in the right placement.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Right. Hey!
Okay, so our first video comes from the DM lair. And so, you already mentioned the name of the person in this video. I've already forgotten it.
Luke Hart.
So, something cat.
Oh, Joe Cat.
Bob, the DM lair guy. So, and he's going to teach us 5 Dungeon Master secrets to keep behind the screen in Dungeons & Dragons. I mean, I'm already a completely magnificent DM. And I can't give away all of my secrets, at great risk of other people's personal security. But, let's see if this guy knows exactly as much as I do.
I'm excited.
Yeah. All right.
It is so tempting to reveal to your D&D players metagame information after the game session is over. What would have happened if? The secret loot they missed, and so on. But the counterintuitive truth is that revealing certain out-of-character information to your players will worsen their game experience and make it far less satisfying. Today's deep dive on this topic will include a rule of thumb for what you should reveal to your players.
You don't have to.
5 things you should
I
never
have definitely
reveal to them,
revealed,
and a note on exceptions
like,
to
if you
these
guys would
rules.
have
If the character
ABC,
doesn't
then
know it,
XYZ
the
would have
player
happened.
doesn't know it.
Nobody,
This is the rule
nobody
to
got all
rule
pissed
all
off about
rules.
it. They just, they were like, well, that's
Most
crazy.
of the other specific
We're on this
things
path
we're gonna
anyway,
go over
so
follow this simple
whatever.
guideline. It's a simple rule too. If the
I don't know. I like the
player's
idea
character
of
in
being
the
able
game
to then
doesn't know
reuse
something,
some of
then
that
the
story
dungeon master
content that
should
you
not
didn't
tell
tell them
the player
about
That's something.
I like that
was
idea.
a mind-bending
Yeah, just make
deep
sure that
truth
you
right
don't
there.
let anybody
So let's look
in
at
on,
5
what you're
specific
planning to do
things that I
anyway,
think
and you
Game
can
Masters
just
Exactly.
have
somewhere
known
else into
to tell the players
campaign,
that they
you know.
probably shouldn't. These are the things to always
100%.
keep
Definitely do that,
behind the
for sure.
screen
That's
and
helpful.
not tell your players. Number 1, things they missed in an adventure. Loot and secret doors and secret areas
Oh, you
are
could
the
have gotten
most
all of
common
this
things
treasure,
characters
you know,
will
you could
miss
have gotten
in an
all of these
adventure. The
Right.
rationale around sharing this information with players goes
But like then you can just
if they
recycle those
already
things.
played
Like
through that
you'd have to do it
adventure,
with a
there's
little
no
bit of
harm in
finesse, of
telling them
course.
what they
But
missed, right?
then you
And
can just
you'd be wrong.
recycle that
Let's
loot
ignore
into
the
a
fact
future
that players
dungeon. Like,
could
oh, they
just
didn't
then
find
go
it here.
decide to
That's
go back
okay
later
because
and
I'm gonna move
take
it
another
here
look.
later.
Just
I mean,
in
you
case.
know,
you
Some
could just-
metagamers
yeah, you
might
could just
attempt
use
that,
portals.
but not your
I always
players.
use
Who
portals.
knows?
Or
It'd be a
because
whole
things are
universe
active and
series,
everyone's
but
moving
I wouldn't
around, you
rule
can
out
always
some,
just be
so
like, oh, someone just
do
picked it up and took it across the
I'm
room.
up on player, but
Oh,
yeah.
My favorite trick
Just
as a
told me about
DM
magic item back
is
there.
giving my
I
players
need
the
to go back
illusion
and
of
look
choice
for it.
doors, because no
But
matter
there
which door
are
they
2
pick,
other
I already
reasons
know
to
which
avoid
room
this.
they're going to go
First
into.
of all, you
Say
might
choice door,
reuse
choice
some
of
of that
door number
content
one.
in a future game.
Door
Yes,
number
that's
2,
right, fellow Dungeon Masters.
keep the check
Welcome
for
to the world of
25,
recycling
crisp
your
new,
unused content for
$,
future
dollar
adventures.
bills.
The second reason I'll get to in my next point. But first, a
All right, I want to hear
shameless
this.
plug for this
Oh, not the
video's
shameless
amazing
plug. Never mind.
sponsor,
Let's keep talking through this.
Subscribe.com is an awesome resource for
He was like, "Oh, I
custom
got some information for you," but
descriptions
then
and set
plug.
incredible
Oh, look, they
scenes
know who
for
I
your
am.
players. Simply type in
Oh,
name of
shoot, look at that.
monster, spell or place and get beautifully written boxed text that you can read
Hey,
or
this is getting
paraphrase to your
eerie.
players.
We're
And with
beginning to
Describe's
break the
new
fourth wall
Enchanter
with this.
Academy scenes, you can get that perfect narrative.
that thing
description
was knocked down with a
without, like,
sledgehammer
release
before the show even started.
Subscribe at the
Cat
link
wand,
below.
too.
There are hundreds of free scenes.
You know, he knows
for
how
you
At
to
this
where to
point-
put
and
all
if
of
you
the
decide to
cat-related
unlock
items.
everything with a paid subscription, use the discount code TheDMLayer to get 10% off your first payment. Number 2, what would have happened if? Players love doing this. After the game session, they come up to you and are
You
like,
really
Oh,
shouldn't
gosh.
have killed
"Say,
this
Luke,
guy. You shouldn't really
what
should
would
have
have
killed that
happened
guy.
if we had let that goblin go free
really
and
shouldn't
try to
have
make a
killed
deal
all
with
of these
his
people."
tribe on our behalf? I mean, I know we
Well,
murderized
you know,
him,
if
but
you do
would it
have
worked
a
if we had
murder
tried? My
hobo
advice to you is to
party
keep your
that
lips sealed
and
when your players
murders
approach
a
you
bunch
with
of
these
hobos and
hypothetical
suddenly they
what-if
have
questions
derailed your
after a
plot,
game session.
you
I
might
usually
want to
just
fill them
respond with
in on
something
what
like, "I guess
might
you'll
have
never
been had they
know,"
not
while
become,
smiling, and my
fugitives
players
on the
like,
run,
"Oh crap, come on!"
or whatever the consequence
Even
might
though
be
your
for
players
derailing.
want to
Or
know,
whatever.
it's way more fun for
He's got a really
everyone
good
if they
point here,
know.
though.
And
Talking about,
why,
like,
might you ask?
if they don't under.
Why?
Oh, hang on.
Melodramatic and over the top at times. I do apologize.
I was a little intimidated by the fact he was
You're just
about
gonna
to
have
be
to
eaten
live with
alive
it.
by
You're gonna have to
Catman
live with the
over there.
crazy man on the YouTube. Anyway, to this
Crazy
No.
person on the YouTube, you don't say.
Mystery and the unknown. Not knowing drives our curiosity and stokes our imaginations. Some things are better left unknown and indeed more fun if unknown. Furthermore, not knowing the what ifs for past decisions.
It's literally what I was
makes
just
their
about to say.
Future decisions that much more interesting.
It's the guiding
and important
principle
for
of what
players.
makes a good horror movie
Quite how to
scary.
explain this really, it's just something
things
that
you
I
don't
know
see.
intuitively.
Well,
Number
that
3,
and
if you
lots of
fudged
rampant human
anything,
nudity.
never ever.
Well,
ever
what you can also
reveal
do is you
fudging
can,
of any type
like,
to your players.
It can make for a really good
Fudging
reveal
your
later
dice
in the
rolls
story too.
behind
It's
the
like, oh, that
screen
goblin was
to
actually a really good friend of ours. Like,
or
oh,
happening.
Well, so would lots
Or
of
you
rampant
allowed their
human
solution
nudity.
to the riddle.
Yeah, no,
to work,
exactly.
Even though it wasn't the correct answer.
I've confessed
Here's
I've
the
never played a
problem with
game
your
that got
players
far
knowing
enough
that
for
you're
players
doing
to ask
this.
me these
It
questions.
demeans player agency and tells them that their choices and
Well,
actions
that's the thing, you
don't
gotta stop
matter
picking up
in the
those,
game. It doesn't matter
bulletin
that you
board
all picked
notices
a
for
fight
the
with an
Adventurers
ancient
League.
black dragon. Your dungeon
Those guys
master
are the very
made sure you
definition of
won
murder hobo.
regardless. It doesn't matter that you gave the wrong answer. Your DM's got your back. When your players
Or
know
they
that you are
don't,
fudging things
but,
to affect
then maybe
outcomes,
you need
and
to find another DM.
especially if it's to tell the story you want to tell, it can straight up ruin the game experience for them. They'll know that your world is not a living, breathing world where their choices matter. Instead, it's a highly
I agree with
curated
what
world
he's
where
saying
you
here
simply decide what
about,
will happen when, and your players are
if you do
powerless to
fudge it
affect it. I've
to
discussed in
not
prior
reveal
videos
that,
the
because,
importance
yeah,
of player
that
agency
definitely calls
and
into
making their
question
choices meaningful.
your
So I won't belabor the point.
everything
But what
going
I will do
forward.
is give you a better solution
Marin
than not
Mermaid, thank
telling
you very
them that
much
you're
for
fudging
following.
things. Stop fudging things. Mostly. 'cause y'all know.
No fudge.
Mostly. Luke, I don't know.
Never any fudge.
No, it's just calm down.
Stop
My
fudging,
Let's not get-
Danes.
let's not
Said
get
no
too
DM
far.
Ever.
Except
Wait, what was
for
that
very
thing I
specific
just said?
ones, such as death
I
saving
saw a speech
throws,
bubble.
that I intentionally hide for
Just
very
because
specific
you're a
reasons.
cat and can't
I
eat fudge
want
doesn't mean that we
players to
can't
see the
enjoy
dice.
fudge.
I want them to know that I'm not
Okay,
changing
fair point.
things behind the screen. For the record, I never fudge death saving throws, but I sometimes do fudge other dice rolls that don't have a discernible impact on outcomes and don't affect player agency, such
I
as
often say
rolling for
fudge
random
after failing,
encounters.
death saving
Sometimes you need a random encounter.
Never fudging a
or
dice roll. I don't
another
believe this
random
dungeon master
encounter
for a
is the
minute.
last thing you need. Believe me, I've been in
Oh, no,
games
he's saying that he
where
fudges
I
stuff all the
rock up
time.
dice, we've rolled up random
Right.
encounter after
He's
random
just saying
encounter
that
after
it's never
random
important
encounter,
stuff.
and it's not that fun.
Yeah, he's more
If you're enjoying this
stealthy
video,
about
give me a
it.
thumbs up and leave a comment for the
He's
algorithm.
like
Though
a
I
rogue
have-
for fudge.
Let YouTube know what you like on your
I have played
nachos,
games though where the
and
dungeon
you know
master
that
would
I
roll the
don't
dice
do
right in
some
front of us.
nachos.
Nachos.
Number
I'm suddenly
4,
hungry.
Monster stats. Yeah, I don't
This
don't share
unit
these
does
with your
not
players. I
indulge
go so
in
far as to not even share the real name
This.
of the
absorption.
monster with my players, unless it was obvious. All it does is ruin the mystery of things. There is
Oh, I
zero
agree with this
benefit
one.
in
I
telling
don't
your
make
players
any
after the
monsters
game
out of the
session
monster
stats of
manual.
the
No
monsters
risk
they
of
fought.
players knowing what
Okay,
they're going up
I
against.
get that it's satisfying in the
Well,
moment
I
and
mean, if
during
you
your
want to go through
post-game
the
debrief
trouble
where
of
everyone
picking
is
every
standing around
single,
talking about the game
monster
session. I get that, I do.
encounter,
But you'd be
then be
trading
my
a
guest.
brief momentary gain for a long-term loss.
That's too
in
much
my opinion.
homework.
Instead, allow your players
If they're
to
gonna
experience the
metagame,
mystery and
they're gonna
suspense of
metagame
not knowing
anyway.
what the crap that crazy thing they fought was,
Teacher, my
or
Warforged
everything
ate
that
my
it was
homework.
capable of. Number 5.
Well, you can
What versus
take a
what
monster
you
out of the monster manual and then just
Dear
adjust
fellow game master,
the numbers of its
guard this
ability scores, and
information
there you go. You have something a little different.
But
You can take away
the
some
monster
abilities
manual
from
out of
the-
a
see
monster.
what
That's
the wizard
way
does
to
behind the curtain. It's far better for your players to believe that everything was prepared in advance, and that the world is what the world is before they come
But
into
yeah,
contact with it. That cave
what
full
you're
of
saying,
gremlins
I
existed
follow.
before they decided
Totally.
to walk into that cave. Those gremlins have been
You
there for
can
years.
add
making their
something,
nasty alchemy
different.
business.
Maybe
It
this
was
vampire
fortuitous that
is
the
not
characters
vulnerable
found
to
and stopped
sunlight.
them when
Suddenly,
they
this
did. Let your
vampire
players
is vulnerable
believe
to
that. Let them feel proud that they decided
McDonald's
to wander
Sprite.
into that random
Yeah,
cave
no, exactly.
just
Like-
in time. If you
Like what you
tell
can do
them
is you
after the
can
game session
take a
that
monster
you
and
made it
give
all
it like a
up
unique
on the
ability, but
spot,
if someone
you're
has a favorite enemy of that
cheapening the
monster, it's
game
like, oh,
experience for
make
them.
make a
Everything they
check
did
to
stop
see
those
if you
gremlins now
can
loses its
remember that
flavor
this
and
monster can
excitement,
do this or
because
not.
they
Like
know
that kind of
if they
thing.
hadn't walked into
Totally.
that cave,
You
I
don't
do agree with what he said here,
Because those
having
gremlins
permanent
didn't really
aspects of
exist.
the
They
world.
didn't
Whenever
really
I dungeon
exist.
master a
Again, this
game,
has to
I
do in part
first
with
create
player
the map,
agency
and that
and their choices
way
in
I
metagame.
always
But it
know
also
Ocean
has to
X
do
is
with
always going to
suspension of
be
disbelief.
on
You
this side of
want
the
your
map
players
no
to
matter
believe
what.
that the
Oh,
world
boy,
There you
is
go.
what the
in a lot of
world
trouble.
is, and that there isn't a wizard behind the curtain creating
Of course, I'm
everything.
actually
When
trying
you
to
tell them
write a
that
lot
you
of
improvised
narratives
anything
that
on
are
the spot,
completely story
you
driven, so
shatter
maybe not
that
doing the map
suspension
right
of
away is
disbelief.
actually helpful to that.
Exceptions to these rules
Can be.
I rarely break these do not share.
Oh, I really want to hear this
But when
part here.
I do, it's almost always for the sake of maintaining the peace, so to speak. And what I mean by this is that if a disagreement arises at the game table and revealing something behind the screen is the best way to resolve it, I will do so. For instance, if my players are upset that a flying monster is coming close, attacking, and then flying away, but that they don't get an opportunity attack, I might say something like this: some monsters have abilities that get around opportunity attacks. Or I might just straight up say that it has the flyby attack feature. And honestly, this is probably the only exception I make to rolling back the Dungeon Master screen. If it's not to maintain the peace, I simply avoid sharing out-of-character information with my players. Click on the screen now to binge
never known
another
anybody
fine
to
DM
ever
Layer
really
video,
get
or to
that
become a
mad.
DM Layer patron, Get Layer Magazine.
I-
and play
neither.
D&D with me
I've
as
played
your
with a lot of
And
people
until
who
next
do get
time,
upset.
long
I'm a
live
little
nachos.
I'm a little guilty of it myself. Because it did feel like at certain occasions, my dungeon master was just like trying to put me in bad situations. So like, I made sure to voice that mid game, and yeah, I'm a little ashamed of what I said and how I did it, but like still, like I felt like I was being railroaded to my death.
Well, I mean, in that kind of situation, it's really that, you have to be paying more attention to who you're actually playing with. And so it's not
100%.
necessarily the DM's responsibility, but, it's the player's responsibility not to play with that DM. Does that make sense?
That makes total sense to me. I actually don't play with that group anymore.
All right, so this next video is from Pointy Hat. We are going to listen to an explanation of beholders.
Ooh.
Say, Green Jams, poof, I have arrived, boy. Thank you very much for tuning in, Green Jams. So, you know, I definitely could use an explanation of beholders and how they work, because I don't understand how they work.
Grab my notebook here real quick.
Uh-huh. I hope that, you know, talking about them this much doesn't invariably make them capable of listening to us.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I haven't looked into this, but that's why we need to watch this video, so we know what the beholders are capable of.
Beholders are pretty brutal.
Hello and welcome. I'm Antonio D'Amico, and this is D&D with a Twist, the show where I take a D&D thing, could be a class, could be a race, or a monster, and I change it a bit to show a new side of said thing, all while dancing around the Wizards of the Coast copyright so that I'm not sued into oblivion.
I've been seduced by
also
so
familiar,
many mummies in the
but not
past.
too familiar. But not too not familiar. This will
I'm excited to see where the beauty is in the beholder.
So when I think of beholders, I think of
I hope that you weren't
beholders
actually
are
hit
the
by those,
monsters
because
for
that
people
those
who like
eye
to
lasers
pretend
were
they're
actually
very
painful.
smart and TPKing DMs. Beholders are one of, if not the
I did have a
most
goddess
iconic monsters
Beyonce in
D&D.
one of my previous
come on now.
campaigns.
They're also weird. They are aberrations,
I mean,
which is the monster category where we put
Beyonce
any
isn't just a
creature that is
goddess at default.
particularly ugly, weird, or unnatural. If it's an affront against nature, it's an aberration. Hey, stop that. Rude. A beholder looks like
Okay,
a ball
raise your
with a
hand if you're
mouth
an
and a big
aberration.
eye on it, with 10 little eyes connected to the main
Okay, well,
body
not
with
the-
stalks,
other
like
than,
the worst possible version of a
Sen,
snail.
who's probably
The
the
eyes
only
are the
person
most
who
important
I,
part of a beholder, because that's where the magic is.
animated
stored.
raising his
The eye
hand.
stalks can release magic rays from their irises.
I'm
Each
glad
eye
you caught
having a
that.
different effect depending on the eye that is being used. Because they're so well
Just
known, we have more info
into
on
the
beholder
microphone and you're raising your
personality
hand.
and culture than most monsters.
Well,
and
I just
it's
pushed the button.
Yeah.
disturbing. Beholders are smart, which already makes them better than most
I have
D&D monsters,
actually
since they can
never
talk,
played a
have
game with a
personality,
beholder
and
in
put
it.
plans and stuff.
Green Gems,
They're also
hello.
convinced
We're
to
doing
their
fantastic.
core
I hope
that
I'm
they
not
have the
speaking for the
best
group
possible life
out of turn, but
ever exists.
we're having a good time tonight.
Beholders
Thank
see
you so much for
themselves
being
as
here with us.
perfect,
I am a god.
and they see every
Since
other
I
living
agree, I'll
being
allow it
beside
this time.
themselves as fundamentally
I mean, you know, I
inferior
could
to them
stand to
in
be
every
pampered
possible
more,
way.
people
What
could pet
makes
my
this
head
even
more,
funnier
people
is
could
that they don't
refresh
believe
my
that
cream,
beholders as a
dish
species
more.
are superior to the rest, but rather that they,
Spoken
the
like a true
individual beholder,
cat.
is better than
Don't you live
all other
alone?
living things. They hate other
Well,
beholders just
yeah,
as much as they
but,
hate
you know,
everyone else.
Theoretically,
I
somebody
have
could do
done
those things
nothing
for me.
wrong ever in my life.
I know this. And I love you.
This makes it so the existence of
Yeah, I've never
beholder
played
society
a
is
game
challenging,
with a
since they just
beholder
hate everything,
in a
including each other.
tabletop
This is also
version
not helped
of
by the fact that
D&D,
whenever a
but
beholder
there was
reproduces,
a
their
video
first
game
instinct is
series
to
called
kill
Eye of the
their
Beholder
offspring,
back in the day
you know,
that
as
I
you
used
do.
to play on Amiga. That
Most beholders are
beholders
loners
were
that only care
brutal.
about
Like
amassing
they
money
were
and magic
basically the
items.
boss
And the only
in
company they
the
keep
first
is that
two.
of minions that know better than
The
to
final
talk smack
boss,
about the beholders, so
and
they
they
are
were
killed instantly.
incredibly
Another
brutal.
fun,
They can
funky
do
trait of
everything.
beholder behavior.
They're
It's the
insane.
paranoia. Beholders
The only
are
thing more
professional
powerful than a
conspiracy
beholder
theorists
is a
that
gelatinous
believe that
cube.
At any given point, there are hundreds of creatures
Not
jealous
in
of their
that game.
perfection
You could
and are coming
actually
to
take
kill
out
them
a
and take their
gelatinous
treasure.
cube
Very much like the weird
considerably
uncle on Facebook.
easier than the Beholder. The Beholder, in order to beat like the second
This
game, you
leads
had
them
to
making their
trick the
lairs
Beholder
basically
into
a
like
saw
some
trap
kind of
filled with
teleportation
minions,
that,
traps,
that
riddles,
like
and various
blended him
inconveniences
essentially.
for anyone trying to get to
Ah,
the beholder's chambers.
Oh, so he was like
Someone
a-
is fighting
like a
beholder. They're not
paragon
fighting just the
beholder.
creature, but rather the beholder, their minions, and years of
I don't
putting the
know. I
most
thought it
unhealthy
was just
paranoia
a
to the
regular
test.
old
If your party
Beholder,
can just
if
waltz
if
up to a
memory
beholder to
serves.
kill
But
it
you
while
know,
it's in its lair,
that was also
you're
20 years
doing it
ago.
wrong.
So
Or not.
It's
Just do
good to
whatever
know that
makes
the
it
two
cute.
people in our
There's no
chat
right
are
or
very
wrong,
friendly
just
with
have
each other.
fun, I guess. One of the magical powers that a beholder possesses
Hi,
and that
Green
most
Jams.
people
Hi,
don't do
Marin
much
Mermaid.
with because it's not
We
part
want
of
to
their
be your
stat
friends
block
too.
is a beholder's dreams.
Oh, a mermaid.
When a beholder dreams, their body rests, but their mind and their subconscious don't. Beholders can influence the world around them when they dream, but influence kind of undersells what a beholder is capable of doing. They're able to manipulate reality based on what they are dreaming of. If a beholder dreams of itself
I put
or of
beholders
another
in my
beholder,
campaign
then a
before, but,
brand
I
new
usually
beholder
make up
will spawn
everything
right
about
next to
them.
it.
Is that
Oh
I
god,
got one
this is
beholder
how
named
beholders
Wayne who,
reproduce. And it would lead to a
And
beholder
so, well, that's the
overpopulation
start of it,
problem
is that his
if
name
their
is Wayne.
first instinct after
And he just
realizing that they just cloned
experiences
themselves in their
all time
sleep wasn't to,
simultaneously, past, present, and
kill
future.
one another instantly.
He's met you, he has
Beholders
met
don't
you, and
seem
he
to
will
be
meet
able
you.
to
And that's
consciously
basically
decide
just
to
how I
create
write his
something when
dialogue.
dreaming, but they are able to create things
So
other than
Wayne's
dreaming
world
themselves,
is
which
infinite party
very
time.
interesting.
Excellent.
I find this very cool. Hint, hint,
Okay,
nudge,
well,
nudge. I'm
maybe
using
every
this.
day
For
is his
being so
birthday.
incredibly xenophobic.
Maybe that's
and
the very
seeing
next thing I'm
anything
gonna do
even
for my
slightly
campaign.
different
Thanks
than
for the
themselves
suggestion.
as inferior and awful, there sure is a lot of diversity in beholders. So let's take a look at some of them. First off, your basic beholder, or true beholder. This is your mama's beholder.
Ooh,
Believes
we
itself
might have an
perfect,
answer to
vanilla,
your
extremely
situation here.
paranoid, not fun of
Basic
people,
Autodoc.
and generally awful to be around. We've seen many forms of this one, but it's always round, with a big mouth, one big eye, and 10 little eye stalks. The central eye casts an anti-magic cone that basically negates all magic within it, which means no spells can be cast in it, and magic items don't work. Weirdly
I'm
enough,
gonna
it
be
also
Option
has
Ranger.
There's eye rays, as in it cannot send an eye ray towards a creature within the anti-magic cone, which, okay, perfect creature, huh? I'm not gonna get into what each eye stalk does because there's no time, but the effects go from charming a creature, paralyzing a creature, slowing it, and putting it to sleep to
Paralyzing a charming creature.
Beholders. Oh man, I need to stay away from those things.
But if you're playing
We
them
all
as the
need to stay
paranoid
away from
messes
those
that they
things.
are, the party should get to
They
them
will
and
Nothing
rock
about
your
a
boat.
floating
So,
ball with
good luck,
eyes
everyone.
says
Now that the basic
cuddly.
one is out of the way, let's get into the weird
To
cousins.
you.
Death tyrants are undead beholders.
You know, that
They
just
happen when a
screams
beholder
plush toy
dreams
right
of living
there.
forever. The beholder
That.
would wake
Look
up
at that.
looking like a
Look at that.
squeeze
Look at them
with their
teeth.
flesh rotted away, and their eyes
Oh,
gone,
hashtag
leaving
cute.
tiny little evil
So
lights
cuddly.
where they once
He is
were.
adorable.
When the beholder turns into a death tyrant, they gain some funky
Hashtag
undead
so
magic,
fluffy.
making them a bit more dangerous than the normal beholders. They're not zombies and retain some of their
What am I,
intelligence.
chopped
Apparently, they
liver?
can also be made through rituals, and there are wizards out there that use them to guard treasure. How that works, given that they retain
You
their
would
Yes.
like
intelligence
some
and
chopped
reality, I
liver,
don't
wouldn't
know,
you?
But, you know, they look cool. Zombie beholders, or zombie holders if you're nasty,
are just animated corpses of beholders. Probably
Oh,
the
I
work of
am
a
nasty,
necromancer
I
with
assure
a
you that.
penchant for the dramatic.
Zombie
They are
beholders.
far weaker than other beholders because most of their eye stalks don't work anymore.
At CR5, this sounds like a fun way for your baby level 5 party to fight a beholder, but
The fact that they have 4 eye stalks
it's a
instead of
big
10
box.
is a trap, since they're still able to use this integration ray, and where a normal beholder
get
has
your
a
eye
1 in
stalks
10
up.
chance of
Ask your
casting this
alchemist
integration
if
ray,
Cialis
the
is
zombie
right for
beholder has a
you.
1 in 4 chance.
so, you know, careful. We don't want to repeat.
Side effects may include an inexplicable urge to run through a dungeon at level 5.
Anti-magic tomb guy can take care of with a shotgun. That's not a beholder, that's a demon.
Their central code
Anti-magic
makes you
effects
vulnerable
lasting
to
longer
fire
than
and
4
cold damage,
hours
and
should
then they
seek
go
a
for the combo wombo
doctor's
of dealing fire or
help.
cold damage. If you're
the
skilled
only
with
thing
long stab
unnatural
blocks and
about those
don't
guys
like
is their
fun, these two
popularity.
are way easier to run. Death kisses happen when a beholder dreams of a paper cut or something. They have just
Oh.
one eye. Their eye stalks are not eye stalks at all. But
I hate that.
tentacles with gross little mouths at the end. The most disgusting thing about them is that they can apparently
I've
see
seen
That
that
guy
hentai
needs to
in
get out in the sun for a little while.
Gross. Why? Anyway, they're
I'm with the
blood
host.
since they
That's
are created by a
terrifying.
dream of bloodlust, and their answer to this fear is to drink the blood of anything they can find. Like a little vampiric ball of evil. Drinking blood allows them to heal and deliver electric shocks somehow. They are generally stupider than normal beholders and not very strategic, but also
that guy
less
was very rich in
egotistical, which means they are
electrolytes.
able to
That's how
team
that
up with
works.
other death kisses on occasion.
Is it
I'm
Rondo?
Very
Right.
cute little street.
Thank you for the lore dump,
Gross
Brainy.
little boy. Love them.
It's what I'm here for.
Spectators are fun. They're basically diabolical.
I love
Spectators.
They have 4 eye stalks,
Spectators are
smaller
fun.
than normal boulders and are also nicer. They come in 3 flavors: lawful good, lawful neutral, and cookies and cream. They are philosophers and spend their time thinking real hard about things. They apparently have 2 modes. In free thinking mode, they would just chill, visit different places, and strike up conversations about philosophy with someone nice. You know, good vibes only. In contemplative mode, they just sit and think. This comes in handy for what spectators like to do, guard things. Spectators can be summoned by powerful mages using a ritual involving beholder eyes and tax returns. When the spectator is summoned, they size the mage up, and if they believe the mage powerful enough, the spectator will agree to guard something for them. Once a spectator has given their word, they will never break a promise. So if the spectator agrees to guard someone's
Was that in
they
response to
will do
the
something.
vampire
Love
beholder?
believe in keeping
'Cause I
their word,
agree.
and are generally
Yeah, possibly.
non-violent, only attacking if attacked first.
That's
or
the last
go
thing
after the
you
treasure
say
they are
when
guarding.
one of
They're
those
just nice.
suckers
Nice
latches onto
beholders
your
finish
neck.
first. If you're looking for a
You should
beholder,
definitely be
fight for
concerned of
low-level
the
adventures, have
vampire
them fight a
beholder.
spectator. Then again, why would you?
Ugh.
Just chilling. Don't be mean.
Oh, just get
Last
some
but
garlic and you'll be
definitely not
fine.
least, Large Luigi. Okay, he's not a type of beholder, but did y'all know that in 2nd edition there was a Spelljammer tie-in novel where they talk about a beholder named Large Luigi that had achieved Nirvana or something and now was running a bed and breakfast tavern and was just a nice chill guy?
There's your
Come on,
there's your
wizards,
boss
bring
there,
Large
Autodoc.
Luigi. Anyway, moving on.
See, now
there
there
are
is a
bunch of
beholder you
other
actually can
beholder
cuddle
types,
up with.
like this one, or this one, or oh god, put it back. But I'm more interested in what we could do with beholders. We've seen a bunch of different forms, but what if we gave beholders a new twist? So you want to fight a beholder?
Do we? I want to fight the beholder.
You're putting words in my mouth.
Beholders
don't
are
like
ugly
that.
eyeballs of evil with a
Oh,
bunch of
better
funky
deception
magic
of it.
powers. And I'm gonna be honest here, they're pretty darn good as they are. Every story needs a good villain, and beholders definitely accomplish that. They are powerful, they are intelligent, they are scheming, and they are definitely deadly. They can speak and taunt the heroes, get in their heads. They have all the ingredients to be menacing. Not only
did you
that,
say
but they're
earlier about
also
Beyonce?
fun. They have this impossibly high sense of self, believing themselves to be the most perfect
Beholder
life form in
Once.
existence, which makes you just want to prove
Have
them
you
wrong
liked
by
it?
Makes sense
defeating
now.
them. They can be campy, they
You
can
like
be
it when you should put a
terrifying, they
tentacle
can
on
fill
it?
so many roles in a D&D campaign. Because
Or
they're so
10.
iconic, the moment you mention them, the players know that they're in for a trip. Because just like they know what a vampire is or a dragon is, they know what a beholder is. And they're equal parts scared and excited to meet them. Yes, they're all evil.
Scarousal is what I call that.
But it's not like the Drow. It's not a fantasy race. It's just an impossibly alien
That
life
I
form
am
of evil.
horrified,
You know, it's
but,
fun. Y'all know
strangely
by now
also
that I'm a big
intrigued.
fan of depth and not having absolutes.
Tell me more.
But sometimes, you know, you just want to fight the evil thing and win, and that's fine. Beholders are in no way stand-ins for a real person, so I say have at it. And you know, if you want to make a good beholder, well, there certainly is precedence for that. Look at Large Luigi. So don't let anybody stop you.
Yeah,
Does this
Large
mean
Luigi
there's
is an
nothing new
example
with
of
beholders? Nope, far from it. Actually,
ingenuity.
I think there's
What
a part
about
of them that's not
Luigi?
particularly
What
explored,
about
or at least
Luigi?
not to its full
What
potential.
about Luigi?
Their dreams. We know beholders believe themselves to be perfect, and we know that they can wrap
Strong
reality
second
around their
player
subconscious
vibes.
mind when they dream. What if we played with those two things? What would happen if a beholder ever
No,
felt
seriously,
that they were
guys,
in
I have a
fact
whole bunch of
not
powers.
perfect? What if a beholder, egotistical maniac that they are, started to believe that they were
I
not
believe that,
living beyond
honestly.
all of creation?
I agree,
That they have
Jam Ash. Can I
flaws.
use a
think
super
they would
shotgun
focus
to
all
fight the
their energy
beholder?
into
Not in this
correcting that,
campaign,
in
pal.
making themselves as perfect as they ought to.
I'm afraid you're
A
going to have
mind's
to
eye
use
is
your
what
cunning
happens when
wit.
a beholder becomes aware of its flaws. The circumstances that triggered this realization don't matter. Once the
I'm glad these things don't count as
into
people.
the beholder's mind, they spiral into a deep pit of self-doubt. What pulls them out of that pit is a new motivation: to be perfect. The mind's eye must be as perfect as they see
Oh, God.
themselves in their mind's eye. It's this
This-
impossible drive that
I can
allows them
relate to
unlock the ability
beholders.
that all beholders have, quite literally, dormant within themselves: their ability to wrap reality. A normal beholder is able to achieve this within their dreams and has no control over it, whereas a mind's eye continually transforms themselves and their surroundings in its quest towards perfection. While in their process to become perfect, a mind's eye becomes almost unrecognizable as a beholder. They keep their central eye and the eyes on their eye stalks, but the flesh is changed into polished metal. They get rid of any biological matter, becoming fully
What?
artificial, unaging. However,
That's
the process
something I can
never
get on
ends.
board
the
with.
mind's eye is aware that they aren't perfect, but their
you go ahead and you
egotistical
do it first
nature
and tell us
doesn't
what
allow
it's
them
like.
to understand that they will
Yeah.
never be perfect. They
Already
constantly
there,
change themselves,
and
and
it
soon
is
enough,
wonderful.
they turn their eyes outwards as well as inwards. They realize their layer isn't perfect, their minions are not perfect, and they go about changing them using the same reality warping power that they use to change themselves. This is the reason why mind's eyes are also called architects. Their layers are a sight to behold. Impossible structures, polished to the most minute detail, with servants to match. Towers that extend far into the sky, or underground galleries that go on for miles. They can be as beautiful as they are deadly, and God help anybody that treks mud into a mind's eye lair. Mind's eyes are generally less destructive than normal beholders because of their obsessive navel gazing. They're so preoccupied with themselves that
They
they
have
have little time to
navels?
focus on anything or anyone else.
I mean,
But-
a party of
I
heroes
can
could use this
understand
to
the
their
gazing.
advantage. By playing into the mind's eye desire to be perfect, they
You
could
can't
make the
navel
mind's
gaze
eye
if you don't have a
agree to help
navel.
their cause in exchange for something that would bring the mind's
Who
eye.
said they were looking at their own navel?
The other side of that coin is that if the
Oh,
mind's
fair
eye
point.
decides that it needs something that the heroes have
That's
to
what all
achieve
those eye
perfection,
stalks are
there is
for.
little that can stop them in their pursuit. As they
We
are
have a
far more
thumb. I
determined
like
and
that.
motivated than any other beholder. I think this sounds like a good time. The party could go on a a quest.
Beholder's
to retrieve rare
OnlyFans
metal
feed
paid
must be so
handsomely by this
odd.
wealthy, mysterious individual, only to find that this mysterious magnate is a mind's eye controlling the city, and with plans to turn it into a perfect utopia, which does not involve living people at all. Maybe a mind's eye has lost an eye to
that sounded really good until
in exchange for its
that last
eye, it
part.
will build anything that the heroes wish for with its power. I think it's a fun
So
twist on what
you thought
Beholders
this was
can
going
be,
to
while keeping
flip
it in
around
line
and
with the
become
lore that
beneficial
we
to
do
you.
have on Beholders.
Honestly, like I was excited for a good aligned beholder.
The stat block is in the description for free. I wrote it and illustrated it. And this illustration took its time, so go ahead and be nice. And it has layer actions and everything. Now, when you read the stat block, just, you know, be aware that beholders are copyrighted material, so if you're wondering why they're never referred to by name in the mind's eye text and stuff, maybe that has something to do with it. Who knows? It does. I can't say it, so wink wink nudge nudge. Go ahead and put this beast into your games and tell me how it goes if you do. Don't forget to do 20 to 30 hours of prep though. The session has to be perfect.
Oh, I totally
And
forgot
Correct.
about
to the
copyright.
end. Congrats.
Hey guys, you're
It
watching
sure
Blaney,
was
the
fun.
RPG
I
Kurtz.
love beholders. I think they're amazing
Oh.
bad guys and make for such
You don't own your own name?
But then again, I like most conniving and scheming monsters, so nobody's surprised. It was really fun to come up with the twist this time because beholders are pretty darn good as they are. So
You know, I know a guy. He's a pretty good lawyer. Name's Preston something. He's one of the other sponsors of Rocky Mountain Pro. I can get you in touch with him.
The channel is super new and sharing the video helps.
I mean, with
a ton,
something
especially,
and
you know, this is
associates.
copyrighted material, so it's not like I can sell.
Correct.
Them, so it'd be nice if you shared.
Yes, something,
Liking it and
something,
commenting
and
also helps
associates.
with algorithm things.
Who can
so,
forget them?
Or so I'm told. I truly do not know. I'm blind as a bat when it comes to this.
Can't forget what
I
you
made
can't
this. I
remember.
release
That's on
videos
their
every
business
2
card.
weeks, and it's a ton of work,
Preston
so I'm trying my best to keep to that
Obstinate
schedule. I have
Skidmark
managed so
is
far,
the
and I'm
name
very
I
proud of that. If you
wrote
wanna learn
down.
more video updates, stuff that is coming up, I post little tidbits, and little
Are you
like,
sure
sneak
your
peeks
pen
on my
just
Twitter. You
didn't
can go to my
overflow
Twitter
at
and
one
find
point?
out. I also post art and stuff, so you know,
No,
follow me there.
I'm
I
not
think
sure.
That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching the video, and you know, share your toys with your sister. Play nice. Sharing is caring. Okay, gonna go now. Okay, goodbye. Ta-ta. Bye. Mwah.
This dude's wholesome.
Yeah, he was pretty cool.
Wild Space.
I dig that one.
Okay, so this next video is from Jordan. Well, Jordan, and the PH is silent. That's what he usually says on his site. And this is going to be about Spelljammer, and it's going to be about Wild Space. So when I was here yesterday, I got the introduction to Spelljammer. I don't know if anybody else needs the introduction, but, you know, these are always fun to watch because there's always a crazy bit of bizarre Moonman logic available in Spelljammer.
So this is basically space fantasy?
Space D&D, yeah.
It's space D&D. And so, you know, instead of it being, you know, a direct science fiction, a riff, there are just a whole lot of particular D&D rules involved in Spelljammer.
At first you had my interest. Now you have my words I probably shouldn't say on this stream.
Ah, well. All right, well.
If it lasts longer than
These
4
are the
hours,
voyages
consult
of
a
the
physician.
Spelljammer Galleon.
I'll make sure to talk to you,
5-year
big guy.
mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out
Yeah,
new
no, I
life
missed
and
the
civilizations,
Spelljammer
to boldly go where
boat,
no halfling has gone
ironically.
before.
In the 90s when they had all the like Dark Sun and Forgotten Realms and
But first, this video
Spelljammer
is
and all
sponsored
of
by
that,
1985
my jam
Games
was
and their
always
Kickstarter, The Deck
Dragonlance.
of Stories. The Deck of Stories
Man,
is a
Mermaid
useful
says I gotta
tool
head
to
out.
help
Well,
you
thank you
create
very much
stories
for
and
tuning into the
adventures
stream.
for your tabletop games. Each
Yes,
card is
thank you
filled
for
with an
joining us.
idea
And
or
thank you
story
for
hook
following.
that can be weaved together with other cards. Pull some random cards from the deck and place them down, linking the story hooks to start crafting your own adventure.
Ooh.
Kickstarter has
This
funded
might
well
actually
over its
be the
goal,
video
and
that I watched
1985
last week,
Games
but
are
let's just go ahead
offering
and watch it
2
again.
story decks plus NPC cards to put pre-generated characters into your campaign. It's really
Okay,
fun
this
art
is
and
a
great way to
really
build
good
a
idea.
one-shot
I
or
really
full
dig this.
campaign. Check out their
Where do
Kickstarter
they
today
get
using the
such
link below,
wonderful
and thanks
toys?
again, 1985
Will they
Games.
make them themselves?
Hello
and then
everybody,
they put them
Jordan
on
here,
Kickstarter?
the PH is silent, and this video is
Oh,
a
that reminds me.
continuation
After this
of
video, I've got something to
Spelljammer
tell you
Release.
guys.
This particular particular video is part 2. If you want to watch part 1, it will help.
Nobody let me forget.
I won't let you forget.
Spelljammer campaign setting, but hey, you're smart. You can figure
and
it out.
by saying that, I mean I'm going to
do.
take
If
a
you're
considerable
curious,
amount of
there
time
is a link in the
trying to
description
decide
and the
whether I
top
want
right
to
corner
listen.
of the screen. It'll take you to
Because
a Spelljammer playlist. In this video, I'm going to discuss the Spelljammer ships, their movement, ratings, and control. Or in other words, how do you pilot this thing? Spelljammer is a D&D fantasy space setting. It has unique fantasy rules involving gravity, air, and the nature of the universe.
Oh look,
You can play
a
any
Captain
characters.
Illithid.
Unique races are dependent on their home world being accessible, so if you're from the Forgotten Realms and want to play a dwarf, you can. Your dwarf would have all their Faerunian characteristics, just not space travel. That will come later. All races are allowed in Spelljammer, but if you wanted to be a race or class from a different setting, like Changeling or Shifter, you'd have to talk to your DM about incorporating the world of Eberron into your Spelljammer campaign.
Okay,
Starting in a
none of you guys
Spelljammer
can be
game,
a
there's always
shifter.
the fun question of,
Darn
how
it.
did you get here?
Oh,
However, you
drat.
could be native to spelljamming if you wish, a non-Faerunian dwarf that flies the cosmos. You could also have some fun building unique
If you were a
background
shifter, you
for
could
the
probably just
characters
turn
of
into one of the
Spelljammer.
wizards
When
around here,
Spelljammer
and then
came
you
out,
could,
there was one
escape
race
my
that was
employ.
considered spaceborne, and that was the Lizardmen. They were considered savages on most worlds, and in space, they are
Noted.
strong and a frightening group to behold. Mentioned in my last video, clerics have some
the
potential
Ascended
problems with
Extra.
recharging their spells. Their deity might not have influence in the crystal sphere where they are currently inhabiting. If you're native to
Deities without
Spelljammer, your
influence.
cleric
Where have I
could
heard that
follow
before?
One of the space civilization
I mean, in
faiths,
every
which
single
would
campaign
only
from
cut
this
you
point
off
forward.
momentarily while in the phlogiston.
Oh, right.
These faiths are the Polygots, the Path and the Way, Ptah, the Traveler's God, and various planar churches. You'll find
you know the
followers
way?
and temples anywhere
You know
there
the
are
path and do you
Spelljammer
know the way?
space civilizations. Now,
You
astral
do know the path
projection,
and the way, I
ethereal
have
spells,
spoken.
portable holes, and extra-dimensional spaces all work normally in wild space, but they do not work in the phlogiston. Phlogiston is cut off from the planes. It might truly be the plane
Phlogiston?
between planes. It seemingly connects all the crystal spheres,
And basically,
but
it's
not the
really
planes.
just
You'll
a
never find your way
wild,
to limbo
highly
from the
flammable
phlogiston.
open
If you
space.
open a bag of holding it in the phlogiston, it will just not function. It behaves as a normal bag. Its contents empty. But don't worry, everything does return once you are back in wild space.
Phlogiston
Magical fire
sounds
in
like
wild space
some
does
kind
work,
of
but
new
regular fire
medication,
does not due
which
to the
side
lack of
effects
oxygen.
include,
Thus,
growing
you
an
are
extra
able to
arm
cast
out
a
of your
fireball
forehead.
or use produce
Definitely
fire,
not
but if
taking
there's
that.
no air around you, the fireball will quickly disappear after
Like
doing damage.
in the
and it will
commercial,
not
they're
set
like grilling
other
hot
flammable
dogs
things
and
ablaze. Spelljammers
racing,
are spaceships,
little
but
stock
they are
cars,
fueled
but
by magic most
side
of the time.
effects
The
include
act of
death.
spelljamming is converting
High-fiving
magic
each
into
other right at the
weapons or
word
ships.
death
In
so
order
that
for
it
the
just like
Spelljammer
distracts you
to
from it.
function, it
Right,
requires
exactly.
a Spelljammer helm, most often just called a
Ask
helm.
your doctor
The
if
helm looks
phlogiston
like
is
a
right
great
for you.
chair, a captain's chair almost. Any creature with
Autodoc,
space
is
ladders
phlogiston
puts
right for me?
magical energy into movement for the ship. There are many different types of helms, as varied as the weapons and other equipment you can wear.
They
Helms
pay
can be
me if I say
upgraded,
yes.
traded, or altered, and part of the fun of
I was gonna
Spelljammer
say that
is
your
upgrading
silence
the
speaks
ship,
volumes.
outfitting it with new weapons or
Yes,
equipment to
no,
enhance speed, and a strong advantage would be
Did
to
I
upgrade
mention that
your
my
helm,
patron
which would allow
deity
you
is the
more
Blue
movement
Cross
for
and the
less
Blue
magical
Shield?
cost, valuable in space.
Ah, yes,
A
I
minor
believe
helm
that
converts
name is
magical
on
ability to
them.
energy at a 1
I
per
don't
2
trust you
fluctuating
anymore.
fractions rounded
Damn
up.
it, Sen,
This
he's a
provides
cleric,
a
not a
ship rating
doctor.
known as SR, which stands for ship rating. SR equals
His name is
level
Autodoc,
divided by 2 rounded up.
so I
A
just
first or
assumed.
second level wizard provides a ship rating of
I went
1.
Is his
automatic.
name
A
Autodoc? I've just
20th
been
level
calling him
wizard
Auto this whole
provides a
time.
ship rating of 10. A minor helm converts
This unit
magical
is
ability to
designated
energy at a rate of
Autodoc
1 per
Blue
3 levels. So in
37.
this case, SR equals
However,
level
most
divided by 3
organics do
rounded
not
up. So
listen
a
to the
first level,
whole
second
name,
level, and
thus
third level
Auto.
wizard all equal an SR of 1.
Of course,
but a
who has
20th
time to
level
use all
wizard
those
equals an
syllables?
SR of 7.
Were you also
Using
programmed with a
helms
sense
as
of
the
sass?
way you control your ship, many ships have minor helms as
Much
backups.
sass.
If the major helm gets damaged or
That would
destroyed, you aren't
be
adrift in wild space.
illogical.
Someone can hop on the minor helm to hopefully get you out of danger.
No,
Ships
sass
have their own
levels
stat
are,
block in Spelljammer,
are
and
high.
rightfully so, as your Spelljammer ship will most often become
Oh,
a
if you
character
don't have
feature.
sass, are
The
you
main
even a
stats
cleric?
are tonnage, ship rating,
So
maneuverability
this is
class,
what the
hull
ship
points,
actually
power type,
looks like.
standard armament, cargo
Wow.
space, and armor rating. There's also keel length and beam
I mean,
length, which is the
they
length and
don't
width of the
actually
ship
all
measured
have to be
at its
dragonfly
longest and
shaped,
widest
but
points.
many of
This
them
is
are.
measured in feet and lets you know if your Spelljammer will be able to hide in that crater.
Hey,
Speed
now.
run it.
100%.
That's a
That-
copyrighted
Your
image.
ship's size is
That
defined
was
by
definitely
tonnage, or
not
T for short, but it's
dragonfly
not weight,
shaped.
rather the amount of
Ooh, I
displacement
want it.
the ship
I want that
makes.
one.
The
Brainy,
tonnage
I want
is a
that.
reflection of how much air a ship surrounds itself with.
Okay, so the first thing that we're going to have to do
capacity
is we're
and the
going to have to
max
launch you
crew
into space.
capacity. 1 ton is
Worth it.
arbitrarily set to equal 100 cubic yards, so you can get an idea of how
We can do
large
that.
your Spelljammer
This
is.
unit does
Ships
not need
all
to
have
breathe.
2 numbers when it comes to crew. One
This
is
unit
the
does.
minimum number of individuals needed to run the ship under normal circumstances, and the second is the max number of individuals the ship can carry without overloading
I mean,
its
Ranger would be a
atmosphere
very
bubble.
difficult
This is shown as a
class to
fraction.
play in
So
this
next to ships,
module
you'll
simply
see
because
1035. 10 is
you
the
would
minimum
virtually
crew, and
never
any more than
be
35
on your
people, you're
favorite
gonna have air
ground.
problems. Mentioned earlier, the ship rating, or SR, defines the ship's speed and power.
Would
and
have
a
to
little bit of
definitely take some
maneuverability.
skills
The higher
in
the SR
gunnery,
number,
I'm
the faster the
assuming.
ship. And
But-
SR is
Gunnery.
directly affected by
Okay,
the
so just
level of
thinking
spell
physics-wise,
pilot
right?
at the helm. So let's say two identical ships, but the
You
way
fire an
they
arrow
operate
in
them
space.
are at different level ranges. The
It
higher
continuously
level
gains
Spelljammer
velocity
will
as
be
it
faster than
travels.
the other. Maneuverability
What happens when it
class,
eventually
or
hits
NC,
something?
of your ship is
It
pretty
goes out.
self-explanatory. How well can you tactically move through space?
Good answer.
This is a factor of size, propulsion, and hull design. Some of the faster ships
Could
are
you fire an arrow in
designs
space?
made by elves, and some of the slowest ships were sea vessels converted into Spelljammers. The rating is A to F, with A being the most valuable.
Like, is
F means the ship is
big
the
science
lowest.
discussion here?
Hull
Is
point,
gravity
or
necessary
is the
for
health of
a
your ship.
bowstring
It's
to
the
be
number
taught?
that represents the damage your ship has.
I wouldn't
Is it
think
Hull
so.
possible
points
for a
are
bowstring to be
easy
taught what?
because they start out equal to your tonnage. A 30
Deep
ton ship has
physics.
30 HP. There are
I hate
options
all
for
of you.
Spelljammer ships that have more armor and other materials
Genuinely
that
good
increase
question.
speed but lower its maneuverability.
Turned into a
Armor
joke.
type is the type of helm or engine, the force that propels your ship.
If you were
For most,
stationary
it's
and
a
had the
Spelljammer
bow,
helm that
you know,
converts
the
magic
base of the
into
bow
propulsion.
held, yeah,
But
you
for
could
mind
make the
flayers, they have a
stream
special helm
taut.
that
I
lets
mean,
them use
that's
psionic
not
energy,
that's
and
not
beholders
anything
power
that's
their ship
gravity
with a
reliant.
mutated
So
version
yeah,
Right, but
of
you would
the
also
Orbis.
you would also
Dwarves have a
need
device called a forge, and you can have
a strong
multiple
base
power
though
sources
to
on
be
your
able to
ship,
fire
but
it.
they
You'd
don't
need
run
an
at the same
opposite
time.
force, or
The
else you'll launch
online one is
yourself.
the primary power source, while any others you have would be considered backups.
Yeah,
If
so if
run
you had
out
a
of fuel,
platform,
you
like
are
if you were like
adrift.
standing on a
But
space
luckily,
station or an
spell slots
asteroid
return
or
on
something
the
like that,
Cargo space is
you were
how
to
much
shoot
cargo you can carry,
your
and each
arrow,
ton
then yeah,
reflects
you would
50
have a
cubic yards of space that can be
stationary
used,
base of
but only
operations
by
that
non-living,
would not
non-breathing cargo. A
move
40-ton
from
frigate
you
could
having
carry
shot
20
the
tons of
arrow.
cargo. And finally, armor.
But then it's not a
class
zero
is
gravity
the
environment.
armor class of your ship. It operates just like armor class.
You're
So
not
a
a zero
dex-based
gravity
D&D
environment.
character might have a high AC because of how nimble
I'm
they
sorry.
are,
Oh,
and how
I have to bring
long
this-
they
down
have
full
armor.
walk.
The same is true
I'm
for
I'm
ships
gonna I'm gonna
and
pocket this
combination
discussion
of
for later.
construction and maneuverability make up armor rating. Small ships in general have
We can argue
lower
this
AR,
if it ever
while
comes up.
heavy-built large ships have a high AR. So, with all of that,
Because
you're
by then I'll
now
have
ready to
read all
buy
the books
a Spelljammer.
immediately
Well, the
behind
currency
me.
in Spelljammer is the
Yeah.
galactic gold.
We'll have a physics
You
professor
have
get
the
on this.
coin, there are a lot of ships to choose from, and perhaps you'll start out small and trade up as
Dear
you gain
Neil
currency
deGrasse
for adventure.
Tyson,
Or
our podcast
maybe
would
you'll
like to
fall in
know,
love with your
our
ship and
stream would
augment it
like
to
to know.
increase its maneuverability
He
and
might actually
armor.
respond. You
Some
never
of my
know.
favorite Spelljammer ships are the Squid Ship,
Neil
the
deGrasse
Yogi Death Spider,
Tyson,
and the
that
Mosquito.
dullard.
Subscribe for the next Spelljammer video. I'm going to talk about helms a bit more, and I'll run you through ship-to-ship combat. My goal is to showcase a simple combat to put the rules into perspective. More questions to ask though. What about landing on planets? What adventures were written for Spelljammer? How easy is it to convert to 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons? Thanks for watching. Thank you so much to my patrons.
So,
for
I believe that was transformative enough for that video. We devolved into talking about
and
physics.
Thank you to
Well, you know,
1985
maybe
Games,
our
and
physics
check out
is
their
going to
Kickstarter using
ultimately
the link below.
outrank
I'll see you
anything
guys all
that
in
is
the next one.
potentially in the first books of Spelljammers.
This video was sponsored by the Deck of Many's new animated spells Kickstarter.
Oh, gee whiz.
Immortality.
Do I have this?
It's pretty gosh.
Gee, do I have this on shuffle? I probably have this on shuffle. I don't know.
Yeah, I was looking at it before.
Uh-huh.
You definitely have this on shuffle.
Okay, well, I mean, this is just as good as anything at this point. So this one's from Blaine Simple. This is his plan in order to give people immortality at level 1.
I'm intrigued.
Yes, everybody get your notebooks out.
I'm already there.
There's no way this could possibly go off the rails.
This video
Oh,
was
not
sponsored
at
by the
all.
Deck of Many's new animated spells Kickstarter. Immortality is pretty gosh darn easy to get in D&D. A lot of people have fantasized the idea of making a character that's physically impossible to kill, but they either overcomplicate the process,
This is
fail at
big
making a
brain
completely
time.
immortal PC, or just make a 25 armor class paladin. And those are all fine attempts, but to be truly immortal, we need to know what the exact definition of immortality is. The ability to live forever. Eternal life. That means no death by aging, and no death by shanks to the back. Now, to show why immortality is
that
tough
would
to
be
grasp, Kodo-sensei was a character from the anime Assassination Classroom. In that show, he was seen as a near-immortal demigod among men, with hyper-regeneration,
Anime nerd.
uncanny speed, and unrivaled senses. Most people thought it was impossible to actually take this guy down. But here's the problem. Kodo-sensei was technically killable. With enough research into how the guy functions, how he thinks, how he acts, anyone with a death wish towards the guy could theoretically kill him. He wasn't immortal, he was just really, really hard to kill. What I'm getting at is that we can have every magical item in D&D, 9 trillion HP, near infinite magical power, but if a group of people stay under our radar, research our skills, and find our weaknesses, we're going to be taken down. It's
This
not
is
a matter
why
of
rogue
if,
is
but
overpowered.
when. And immortality
Correct.
doesn't care. You either are immortal or aren't. So I could
That
get right
is
to
a
the chase
fistful
and
of
tell you
dice on the
guys what
table.
best
One
strategy
sneak
for
attack,
immortality
please.
is. But honestly, there's a lot of builds that get close to hitting the mark, and I know a lot of you are already coming up with your own builds and will probably be like, but Blaine, you could also build this and that together and you could get... Alright, I get it. Plus,
Okay,
if
come
I
on, the
were to
parts
just
are on
jump to
back
the end,
order.
this video would be a minute long. So let's go over a few ideas that I know a lot of you are thinking about and get to my own personal ideas later. Number 1. This is going to be one of the easier setups to achieve. An 11th level monk can use a key point every time they die to return from death at 1 HP. At 20th level, you could use this skill 20 times. Along with that, going a half orc could grab you another skill which can save you from death, so in the end, you're looking at 21 instances of infinite health. That's
And a
pretty
lot of
strong,
chronic
but
pain.
it's not nearly close to
Yeah.
immortality. The power's finite, and once
It's
we run out,
broken.
we're just like everybody else. Flimsy
broken.
and not immortal. So, class features can't help us. What about unlimited magic? Spellcasters have tons of different spells they can use, and it shouldn't be surprising to know that one of them is invulnerability. Essentially, for 10 minutes you're immune to all damage. That's cool and all, but what if we cast this spell every 10 minutes for 24 hours? Well, to start, we need around 4 million XP in order for this to work. You see, after 20th level, players looking to continue the game can begin to collect boons, godly abilities that break the game even further. The Boon of High Magic can give us an extra 9th level spell slot. Now all we need is to choose this boon 143 more times, and with
Nice.
every 30,000 experience earned, we can grab another. Did you somehow gain 4 million XP and aren't completely dead yet? Great. Now you should have 144 9th level spell slots with the spell Invulnerability prepared. Cast it while you travel. Cast it while you sleep. Cast it while you eat. What could possibly be the downside to such a powerful... Oh. Well, with spell components in mind, you'll just be burning
Oof.
72,000 gold every
So
day.
if you're Jeff
Not only that,
Bezos, this
but
is
just because
possible.
you're invincible doesn't mean you're
I knew it.
unstoppable.
Immortality
All
is
it would
for
take
the
to shut you
1%.
down would be a thief capable of stealing your gold, or a
Duh.
group of wizards with dispel magic. Once again, you're not immortal, just really hard to kill. Now, before we move on to my personal favorite strategy, allow me to go over some honorable mentions.
Using a wish spell for immortality.
That could work, but remember that most people see Wish as the ultimate Uno reverse card. Depending on your DM, using Wish could either completely backfire, lack enough power to offer complete immortality, or just flat out work. In the end, Wish is up to the DM's homebrew, and because of that, it's too random to even consider viable.
The boon of immortality?
Well, it
Sorry.
allows you to prevent aging, but the name is just fancy talk to make
You
it
okay
feel
over there?
appealing. You can
Yeah,
still die
yeah,
into
I'm
knives
fine.
in your
I
back,
just,
so there's nothing immortal
I
about it.
lost control
Becoming a
for a
god
second
for
there, but I'm
immortality?
alright.
Hairball.
I'm
Definitely
bringing
not.
it back in.
The most well-known
Bringing it
trait
back
of
in.
gods in D&D is their ability to die. The demon god Orcus knew a word so powerful it could kill gods just by saying it. So no, not even gods are immune to death, which is the biggest paradox I've heard all year. So what can you do to become completely
If that
immortal
word
in
kills
D&D?
people, then
Well,
you
there's
guys are
one
darn
item
near-
that exists
darn near
which,
invincible.
without any strings attached, can make its wielder immortal. The
Are you saying
Rod
that
of
we're not
Security, a major
that
tier,
word?
very
I
rare item
appreciate that,
allows
thank
the
you.
wielder to create a magical paradise on a privately owned demiplane.
Yeah,
In this
let's say
demiplane,
that-
the
that
environment can
word.
be changed to suit the owner's needs,
that's what I
contains an infinite amount of food and drink, and prevents you from aging. Outside creatures can't
About the
locate you
word.
or enter your demiplane, and the less people who knew about your existence before you got a hold of this magical rod, the better. Just know, the only spell that could take you down, once again, is Wish. But so long as you create a paradise early enough, there shouldn't be anyone insane enough to try and even kill you. The goal is just to mind your own business and stay under the radar until the rod is in your possession. Don't give anyone a reason to murder you, and you should be fine. If all
Okay,
things
I'm
go
there,
as
dude.
planned, then you can stay in this demi-plane for pretty much forever.
Title of
Just
note:
remember that
things
after
to
200
never
days,
give
you need to create
players
a new
as a
demi-plane.
future DM
Time
on
moves the
future
same as it does in the
campaigns.
material plane, so the rod should be
Well,
ready
I
to
mean,
use
Wish
again
should
before
just
that
be at
time
the top of
comes.
that list.
Now, there's a lot of ways you can abuse these mechanics, since its abilities are so open-ended, but immortality is definitely possible, and is easier to achieve than you think. Knowing you guys, some players might actually try to pull some of this stuff off, so here's a trick to make your DM cry. If you do get a hand on an item like this, form a demi-plane to be a training arena where the monsters inside offer a good challenge, but never actually kill the party members. Say that a few decades of tough but rewarding training pass, and from level 1, all of your characters could skyrocket to level 20. I'll say this
the
now,
Goku method.
most DMs are gonna shoot this game-breaking item down really fast,
Right,
so don't get
DBZ
upset
in
when
the
that's
house.
the case. Thanks for sticking around until now, and a reminder that this video was sponsored by the Deck of Many's new animated spells.
Just the item
From levels
is
1
the
through
is the
20,
way to
you'll
become
find a
immortal.
fully
Got
animated
it.
card for 5e that contains all the info you need to cast your spells, with a beautiful holographic front and the magic's description on the back. Along with that is their new tarot card deck. If you'd like to check out the
Oh
Kickstarter,
no!
and I'll see you
I'll
all
be
in the next
trapped in paradise. Oh, Brainy, you're right. I'm so stupid.
That would be terrible.
I'm gonna go get it.
Should we just go ahead and preempt the rest of the stream while you go search for that, cowboy?
No. We can keep watching. I got to do some research here, so it's fine.
All right.
Also, cowboy, how dare you?
Let's see.
This video was
Is there
sponsored
no
by the
ye
Deck
in
of
your
Many.
Currently,
heart?
I have these on shuffle. The next video is also from Blaine Simple, and it is from it's entitled "So My Players Use the Wish Spell." We've already been duly warned about what the Wish Spell does. Now we're going to see the fallout.
I'm ready.
Oh joy.
This video was sponsored by the Deck of Many and their new free campaign setting. More on that near the end of the video. So, one of my players used the Wish spell. It all started 6 weeks ago in an online D&D campaign I've been running for around a year. Originally, the game was pay to play, as finding consistent groups to play with online is pretty tough. Paying to join D&D sessions is still a bit of an iffy topic, so if you want my opinions on it, go ahead and watch this video. But regardless, after the first few
not an
months,
iffy
though,
topic,
most
it's
of
that
the
most
original
people
party
don't
was
have
still
money.
enjoying themselves at the table. So I dropped the fee to
I'm
play, and
of
we've been
two
role-playing
minds on
twice a
that
week
one.
ever since. For this particular
The
group,
other
we started at level
mind
1
is,
playing the Lost
somewhere
Mines of
in the
Fendelver
vicinity
module,
of the
a
Pirate
pre-written
Bay.
campaign meant to bring your players up to level
Correct.
5. The game was great.
The first
and
mind is like,
by that I mean
pay
a
for
complete
everything.
bloodbath.
The second
The party
mind
was almost
says,
completely wiped out in the
ingenuity.
very second fight of the game, and if it wasn't for the Warlock's fiendish patron and the Paladin selling his soul for ungodly amounts of power, that probably would have been the end of it. Now, because the party had made a few connections to devilish creatures already, by the time they finished the Phandelver module, it was a no-brainer as to which book I should pick up and run for them next. At the time, Wizards of the Coast had just released their newest module, Descent into Avernus, which was chock full of dark
this is
creatures
all
warring
Wizards
out
of
the
the
First Layer of Hell. The best part
That
about
one
Descent
is
into Avernus
fun.
wasn't just the module, but also the rules regarding war machines and how to roleplay out devil deals.
You can
An
get through
important
that
thing to note is that in
campaign virtually in your
exchange for
sleep.
your soul, devils can offer a variety of rewards to the seller. From land, magic items, all the way to wishes, there's really no limit to what a fiend could offer. The stronger the devil, the more they can give, so scouting out a high-ranking fiend would be the key to getting the best rewards. Now, half of the story was both talking to and murdering the denizens of hell, while also working to purify a corrupted
Oh, hold
fiend.
up.
Somewhere in
That
between,
was a-
looking for a holy blade,
that was
which
a,
really needed to make dealing with the
a
other two
reference to Has Been
problems
Hotel,
easier.
the
The sword had so much
White
magic
Demon,
stored
yeah.
up inside of it that when the party eventually
watch
found the
cartoons
blade,
on the
it turned
internet.
most of them into half-angels.
I
Their
thank
bodies
Fenris
morphed
for that
to
one.
peak physical condition,
So, hey
blemishes
guys,
and
did you know
scars
that,
vanished, and their
Sam
faces became
watches
perfect.
cartoons on the
Later
internet?
on, the party returned the sword to its original owner. After
who
getting
doesn't
the
watch
angel
cartoons on the
applied,
internet?
The girl pieced out and the mission
point
was
taken.
complete. But for some of the players
Some people might
involved, it
consider
was
this a
a bit
cartoon
more
on the internet.
complicated than that. Now, the group had finally just finished one of the longest quests I've ever ran in D&D history.
Yes.
And to
I'm now in the
celebrate,
middle
I
of an
gave the
existential
party 2
crisis.
years
How
worth of
dare you.
downtime to do whatever crazy nonsense they were interested in.
It's what I'm
Everyone
here
could
for.
finally use the money they've been collecting to build houses, form relationships, and start up
like
prospective
active
the
businesses.
fourth wall
For the
on the
Conquest
fourth
Paladin,
wall.
however, it was
broken.
also a
That's
time
like
to collect a
16
debt that
walls.
Fring the Angel had created. During his downtime, Ace the Paladin decided to rebuild a ruined village
Okay,
back
note
near
to
the
self.
Sword's Coast, seeing as the party had sorta destroyed it the last time they were there. He also found time to
think I
head
know
back to
how to
Hell
build
and
my
discuss
very
his
next dungeon.
payment for the job he had completed.
Oh, a party burned down a
did
village.
dirty
Haven't heard
work
that
well.
one before.
The angel's gone. Now
I
it's
mean,
that
it
time
was
to
in
pay.
very close proximity to Hell, just to be
Take what I
accurate.
promised you would never return. We're done here.
Once the years came to an end, the rogue had gotten rich off of his hitman career, our wizard now owned the best magical academy in the city of Neverwinter, the bard had proposed to his love, and Ace's village couldn't have been growing any better. The party could finally
That's the most
retire,
unrealistic thing
and
I've
when
ever
their
heard.
adventures
Bards don't
over would
propose.
be the end
The
of our
DM
campaign.
was taking a nap.
Just kidding. Our plan was to reach level 20 and beyond, so with the party being only level 14, we still had a ways to go. After their time off, the group was
The
called in for an important
five-headed
meeting to
dragon
discuss the end
with
of
the
the
different
world.
colored
You know,
dragon
high-level
heads
character
is,
problems. The 5 factions capable of helping
That's
against the
the,
threat were at each other's
goddess of
throats,
evil,
and only the party could
Tachaisis.
reunite them before the epic final battle to come.
Tiamat.
End of the world, human enslavement, yada yada yada. What's in it for us?
The preservation of humanity and the natural order?
No, I mean cash.
Hebor, it's the end of the world.
After that incredibly productive meeting, the party had their next quest, sailing around for literal months in the frigid north. It took a while, but the party had eventually finished their errands and began their trip home. That was until...
Hebor, your loved ones have been abducted and thrown into a plane of darkness and death. Abort the quest and hurry back if you wish to help them.
Well, it's a little bit too late for that now, huh?
The party quickly teleported back to Ace's village in the hopes that they could
Those
help, but all of them were too
inconveniently
late.
placed
Villagers
planes
were
of
dead all
darkness and
around
death.
town, his wife and daughter were definitely missing, and
I
the
mean,
bloodthirsty
so you know how
cultists were
close they
stretched out in a
put,
conga
hell to
line
that
through his
one
manor
housing
before
community.
finally ending near his bedroom. Even after 2 years,
You
the
would
village
think
was
that
still
that
too
would
weak to
reduce
protect
the,
itself from the raid,
the real
and this
estate
was the
value.
result. Meanwhile, Ace was pretty shocked. 2 years worth of hard work led up to this. The village was ruined and the citizens were dead. There wasn't anything else he could do to help. Or was there?
Green Jam
Now,
says, "I gotta
first
go
off,
now."
the party
Thank you
was
very much
traveling
for
with their
tuning
new
in,
friend
Green Jams.
Anna, who was a high-level cleric. Using
Thank you.
divine intervention, she
You
prayed to
are,
her god to heal the
great
dead
chatter.
citizens of the town, and instead
We
they
appreciate
were
your
all
time.
turned
Thank you
into
so very
zombies.
much.
Funny story, turns out Anna had a connection to a certain evil dragon goddess, and seeing that the party had recently betrayed her,
Oh,
long
man,
story
you know,
there,
you
Tiamat
should've
was the
put
one who
money on
decided to
Tiamat.
answer her prayer. Now all of the villagers were zombies, and it would be even harder to resurrect them. So now there really wasn't anything the party could do to help. Or was there? Now, you see, Ace wasn't just helping that angel from earlier for the sake of being a nice guy. He'd not only sold his soul for ungodly amounts of power, the same devil also decided to give Ace a single wish if he could get that angel from earlier off his back. Since the party already purified her, Ace had held his end of the deal and received a wish from the fiend as compensation. Well, guess who's still holding on to that wish after 2 years?
Oh,
With the power
no.
given to him by the literal devil, Ace called upon his wish and asked for things to go back to the way they were. Now, because the rules of wish are so open-ended, and I'm not a big fan of stabbing my players in the back for no reason whatsoever, I created a chart that would determine the odds of having your wish go as planned. Different things like who gave you the wish and who cast it all affect how the spell will turn out. And since a fiend gave Ace his wish, there was a 75%
trouble.
chance it was gonna blow up in his face. Not
Oh,
having any
no.
other options though, and really wanting to save his village from its third extinction, yes, there
Right
were
to
2
the
others,
Stone Age.
the spell was cast and the following happened.
At least that's what I would
Time
do if
stopped.
I was a
The
fiend,
party could still see
etc.
and observe the world around them, but neither they nor anyone else could move at all. The party was teleported to the ethereal plane and was forced to watch the village as spectators. The world continued on without them. The village aged 13 years and was now overgrown with vegetation, trees, and wild animals. The party also aged both physically and mentally. Although most of them were blessed by the holy sword from earlier to have perfect bodies, the young cleric and the older rogue turned into an adult and an old man respectively.
Well, that was anticlimactic. Ow! My back!
Bright Clover the Rogue was senile now and refused to go any further with the party until his age was reversed. Luckily enough, Aegon the Wizard had his clone spell prepared, which let him create younger copies of people, so he could easily grow another body for Bright Clover's soul to inhabit. Higher level magic is terrifying, but I digress. Problem
I
was, though,
agree.
the procedure required 1
I'll write
cubic
that
inch
down.
of Bright Clover's flesh to perform.
Ah,
Since the spell
lightweights.
specifically needed his flesh to work, there was no way around it. So rather than, put the man to sleep with magic or potions, Hebor straight up smashed a wine bottle over the grandpa's head. Unfortunately, the impact wasn't enough to knock him out as the rogue succeeded his con save, so he tried again with a wooden staff, again to no avail. In the end, they just decided to perform surgery on Bright Clover while he was awake, which funnily enough did less damage to him than Hebor did with blunt trauma. The little cubic meat boy was eventually collected, Ajon bought a velvet-lined coffin to put the chunk into, sent it over to the rogue's wife for safekeeping, and it wouldn't be for another 4 months in-game until the coffin fetus was old enough to inhabit. Gosh, this was so weird. So yeah, Wish is a pretty volatile spell. The bigger the wish, the higher the chances that things should go horribly wrong, and since Ace at the beginning just wanted to save a bunch of villagers, I didn't have the magic go too crazy, especially considering that a devil was the one casting the spell for him. For any DMs out there wondering what a good way to run wish magic is, it should only be a reward for players who've made heavy sacrifices or completed long or dangerous quests. Even then, you've just given your group the chance to alter reality, and if you're a good DM, won't have all their hard work blow up in their face because of it. Thanks for watching, and once again, today's video was sponsored by the Deck of Many's new Heckna.
I kind of agree with the mentality of that, right? Like, an infernal being gives you one wish of them. Of course they're going to be like, oh, this is going to be hilarious. I'm going to do this the worst way possible.
Creatures and magical items. Be sure to check it out today at
most definitely.
Heckna.com.
If you get a wish from a demon, of course it's going to be corrupted.
I actually like the way that played out, though.
Oh, absolutely.
This video was sponsored by the Deck of Many and their...
Those are some particularly... I lost all train of thought as soon as I saw Guinea D.
Of course you did.
Yeah. Alright, so this is a series that Guinea D has done that has to do with roleplay practice using videos. So she's playing a character where she's a mage and we're her assistants. So I want to see how well this was just going to play out in this format. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to run the video. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to make our responses to her as though we are role-playing.
Oh my god, it's Mages Academy all over again.
Yes, may God have mercy on our souls.
Thank you for coming. Even though I don't think this is going to work, I specifically asked for a research assistant with experience in a scholarly setting and a professional demeanor.
Nothing but class here, sister.
You know.
Yep.
I can't just train anyone. Well, there's no use dwelling on that now. Who
Oh
knows?
no, come on, can we
Perhaps
dwell
you'll
about it a little
surprise me.
earlier?
We'd better get
I
started.
mean, I've still got maybe about 15 minutes on my lunch break.
What's that on your hands?
It's a bow and arrow used to shoot things in a professional manner.
They're not hands, they're paws.
I don't want that getting on the books.
Oh, we're role-playing as you.
And we'll begin your training.
It's just blood. It washes off.
Hello, friends,
Soot,
and welcome to
mostly.
another point of view roleplay video. I make these to help tabletop gamers, LARPers, and writers develop their original characters and practice roleplay. You've just met Nimwin, a scholar who has hired your character.
You know, I know some stage performers who might benefit from a video like this.
Oh, gee, I had no idea you were a theater kid.
Aren't likely to willingly sign up for that kind
I
of thing.
mean,
Maybe
you know me.
Understanding, maybe they're questioning their decision to go.
Oh,
adventuring,
absolutely.
considering
Where else did I
self
get my love for
more than
Rocky Horror Picture
maybe
Show?
they're undercover for some
It's
reason. You decide. Here's how it
enchanting.
works. In character as Nimwin, I will interact with and ask questions of you, the viewer. There will be
I mean,
a
I just
countdown
happen to
timer
think
in the
that's a
lower
really
corner
good
to show
movie,
how
but
long
you do
have
you.
to answer. If you need more time, feel free to hit pause. There's also a link to a document with all of the questions in the description. And of course, if you want to learn more about Nimwin, you can read all about her on her World Anvil page. Obsessed with a long-dead poet she's never met. This
Yeah,
is
yeah, we're going to your
defamation.
website.
I'm not obsessed. I'm in love. World Anvil sponsors this series. Their support makes these fancy in-character narrative videos possible. World Anvil is a toolkit for writers, game masters, role players, and anyone
I've actually used this before.
admirably
World Anvil.
Mm-hmm.
to her tragically deceased soul.
I have considered giving
World
this
Anvil
a
has
subscription.
everything you need to organize and document.
I think I've read this on
fanfiction.com.
fanfiction.com.
Articles, interactive nestable maps, family trees.
We belong to the same circle.
Sheets, historical timelines, and more. It's easy to see that this website was built by world builders who know exactly what kinds of tools creators need. Fanatic? Is that any way to talk about a patron of the arts? I mean, who hasn't wanted to bring their favorite writer back from the dead and date them? Right? DMs can even run sessions through
Ray
World Anvil.
Bradbury.
It has built-in dice rollers,
You
support
died
for
too
stat
soon.
blocks and character sheets, and even
This
features
is when
like
I get on the
party
wiki and
quest
find
log
out he
and
died at
character
80 or
journal.
something.
Plus, built-in privacy tools make it easy for DMs to choose what's public, what's private, and what is for their party's eyes only.
Prepared to attempt grave robbing in order to facilitate her unethical necromantic. Who wrote this drivel? This is going to need a complete rewrite.
If you want to see World Anvil in action, check out the link in the description. You can create a basic account for free or use the code Ginny to get 40% off any annual membership. Now let's get back to the roleplay.
Hands?
To clarify, we're role-playing as you, Brainy.
Much better. You understand, some of these books are very old. They must be handled with extreme care. They contain the knowledge of the ages, painstakingly transcribed,
Okay, who's up for book,
and
Kobe?
then lovingly passed on to the unknown minds of the future. Minds like ours. Well, minds like mine.
Oh, I
I'm
hate
going to
you.
introduce myself. I am Nimwin, and I am a
Definitely.
scholar here at the library. You have
I'm
been
Brainy,
brought
and I'm
here
also a
to
scholar
assist
here
me
at the
in my
library, but you
research.
haven't noticed that
What
yet.
shall I call you?
I'm
You
sad.
shall call me Harkham, the person who's gonna put a boot up your ass.
And also,
Most organics call me
as my
Otto.
research assistant, you will do as I instruct, and never ask questions unless they are necessary to complete the task. You're
what
not
about
a curious person, are you?
Hold on
I'm
now.
only curious about things that don't piss me off.
You.
Literally a cat lady.
Curiosity is an
I'm-
admirable trait in a researcher, of course, but you are not.
Trying to get a word in edgewise.
You are an assistant. If any such curiosity comes up, please keep
What a
it to yourself.
rude
There are
assistant.
many, both inside and out of
No,
the
she's the
system,
master.
who would do
Or
their
what?
We're
best
the
to stop
assistant.
my research if they
I'm
knew
sorry,
of it.
yes. What a
Who would
rude
call it
instructor.
unethical, or perhaps
master.
even illegal. But any law that would stop the progress of knowledge is a law built by a civilization destined to fail. Do you agree?
Actually, yes, 100%.
Oh, absolutely. Destroy any civilization for the sake of progress.
I'm just stealing
Civilization
from
is
the
so
cafeteria
uncivilized.
account.
If anyone
Easily.
asks you to reveal my research,
If you're not
here,
stealing from a
you are
cafeteria,
bound
you're
to
not trying.
confidentiality. Do you understand? You must not speak of
Well,
the
I am
details
stealing
of
from
my
the
work.
cafeteria, and
Can
I'm
you
not
do
trying.
that?
I don't think there's anything interesting enough to speak about when it comes to your work.
Agreed.
This, of course, is why I ask that you refrain from asking too many
Non-disclosure
questions.
agreement.
The less you know, the less aid you will be to any hoping to stop me. Your main tasks here will be seeking out material on specific subjects and fields. Forgive me if this is a rude question, but you never know.
We
with
anticipated
adventurers.
being a rude question.
Do you know your letters in order so that you can find titles? They're organized by alphabet within each area.
Wait, are we doing the actual alphabet, or are we organizing things based on the Dewey Decimal System?
A-R-S-E. That's the only order my boot
Grow
needs
used
to
it
know.
quickly once you begin work. What is your overall experience level with books and other scholarly writings?
I'm a graduate of several mages colleges, so I do read a lot.
It was a waste of a perfectly good cow to turn it into leather.
I went to Auto Doc Medical School.
The library is laid out into sections based on format. Bound books in the northmost aisles, loose parchment in the southeastern corner, and scrolls in the southwest.
No
You may
unbound
explore
books,
the
and you call
bound
this a
books
library?
And loose parchment as necessary, but it's best if you avoid the scrolls for now, as they can be very dangerous. Are you yourself a spellcaster of any kind? Have you ever used a scroll?
I literally just told you.
Oh, I cast this marvelous spell. It's called pulling an arrow back with my bow and shooting it at things to kill them dead.
You know, I don't appreciate your attitude.
Quite valuable. A scroll cannot simply be copied without the destruction of the original text. Instead, it can take a skilled magic user weeks and thousands of golden resources to create one, depending on the magnitude of the magic, of course. Perhaps after your first month, if you're very good, you can take home one of the simpler scrolls as a bonus. For yourself, for a companion, to sell, whatever you choose.
Oh, goody, I could use another cantrip.
Did you choose this one on purpose, Brainy? Did you choose this one so that she could just talk down to us this entire time?
I was basically just put everything in the playlist in here, so...
I would choose the spell that gives me extra beer in my mug at the tavern.
Well, everyone has different areas of magical interest. It is good that some choose to focus on dull or trivial fields, just as some must be cooks and some must be kings, I suppose.
The preservation of life is not
the divine, the arcane.
petty.
I agree with the robot.
Have you ever seen
I could really go for
the
the cook right now.
You're always hungry.
I've always wondered what it looks like. The process, the result.
Well, what do you want me to do? You know, somebody just ate out the middle of my cat dish, and now I am foodless, like an animal.
Again? Is their flesh cold to the touch? I hope it's not cold.
Why are you touching undead things, you creepy woman?
I mean, she's wearing gloves, to be fair.
I find it so fascinating how we view resurrection
Wait.
as a society.
Are you a necromancer?
Undead are as monsters to us.
She sure sounds
Others
like
are
it.
heralded as divine when they return to life. I wonder if the exposure to extreme risk makes adventurers more open to the idea of healing beyond death. Do you think revivification unnatural?
Actually, you have my attention with this. Because, preservation of all life and whatnot. Are we talking, like, reviving, or are we talking, like, zombies?
Touch my dead body and I will haunt you.
Yeah, she kind of said no questions
Books are
there,
full of
Sen.
such fascinating stuff. Sometimes I just get lost in them.
I know what she said.
Especially poetry. Do you enjoy poetry?
No.
Love it.
Yes. There once was a man from Nantucket.
I can snap
Jinx,
my
oh,
fingers
Miko.
and create light. But I've always felt that the truly inexplicable and beautiful magic of this world lies in poetry. A window to another being's soul. A connection that bypasses time and distance. Have you ever encountered a story or song or verse that made you feel as if you knew another soul, inside and out?
Certainly. Have you ever heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
I can't say I ever have.
It would be nice, I
I
think.
believe I
have your
pulled
soul
that
truly
down
seen.
from
If
LimeWire
you were
back
to
in
write something
05
to
and
let
got a
someone in,
virus.
What would you write?
To let someone in? I don't know. I'd probably write a little
A lot of self-published books that don't get any traction on Amazon.
Largely
about myself.
technical, documentary,
Story.
experimental even. But if I were to write something from my soul, it would be a love story. Not that 5-copper erotic pulp, but a deep story of joined hearts. A true love that weathers time and tragedy, and even death. Perhaps one day I will live such a story. Have you ever been in love?
Excuse me while I dry heave from the thought.
I mean, I thought I was once, and it just didn't end well. We don't have to talk about that.
Her name
Better
was
off
Jessica
without her,
Rabbit.
trust me.
So terrible. If things are done for a reason like that, how far would you go for love?
I'd do anything for love, but I won't do that.
You won't do that.
But I won't do anything.
Love is frivolous and pointless.
Everyone deserves love.
That's enough of all that.
Just not
Robot
romantic
said
love.
it best.
Tomorrow I plan to send you to the temple cemetery to compare dates of death with some documentation that I have. Do you feel comfortable in such a place, surrounded by the dead, or does it frighten you?
Does it have anything to do with your previously mentioned research project?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't like being around dead things at all.
I'm a ranger in a forest. It's built on dead things.
Cadavers don't
There
bother
isn't quite
this
enough
unit.
light left for that today, anyway, and it can be dangerous, lurking in a graveyard after dark. For now, I need you to seek out 3 titles for me. The Truth of Resurrection by Narissa Valakir. It's a relatively recent publication.
Oh, I've heard of that.
A treatise on
kid stuff.
necromantic healing. This one has no listed author, so it may be categorized under T for treatise or A for anonymous. And finally, an unnamed tome bound in human flesh. You'll be able to locate it by the muffled screams it emits. Be sure not to open it, though. It becomes disruptive when unmuted. Bring those back to me. on my desk.
That sounds like a necromantic
What are you
tome,
waiting
and
for?
I will
Get
not
to
be
work.
bringing that back for you.
Well, I mean, she was talking
I hope
about
you liked
romance.
getting
She
to
was
know
probably,
my spooky little gay
also
librarian
talking
better, and that you were
about
able to learn something
necromantics.
new about your own character.
If you
He's
enjoyed
going
this
to
video, you will
fornicate with a
love
dead
the other
thing, I
point of
know
view
it.
roleplay videos that I make.
So
Check
she
out
takes
the
Nex
full
out for a
list to
good
see how
time?
your character responds to
I'm
being
not sure
killed,
exactly how I feel about her
investigated by
trying to
personal
resurrect
interview by
something.
matchmaker and more. By the
Because,
way,
like, true
check out
resurrection,
response videos as
the
the
person is
description,
back.
so
But if we're talking like
see
necromancy, which is
in the description.
kind of what she was alluding
Out of
to,
background music. Just
that
make
can
sure
be
links are
problematic, and
included
that
in the
can
description for you
lead to
respond.
a lot of moral quandaries.
Do
honestly.
you want Pet Cemetery? This is how we get Pet Cemetery.
Sometimes dead is better.
So, let's see. This next video is from XP to level 3.
Ooh, I've heard of these guys.
Yeah. And so this is called How It Feels to DM Above 10th Level. Which, I mean, I guess we got a little bit of a smackerel of that when we were talking about the Wish spell, but we'll say onward and upward.
The Rakshasa
It's just an
cackles
8-minute
from the
montage
back
of
the
crying.
cathedral. He then looks at you, Umbris, and says, "You'll never save your sister now," as he begins casting a spell on her. No. Roll initiative. 28. 19. 22. Wow. Okay, cool. Umbris, you're first. How far away is she? 200 feet. Okay, I'm gonna use my feline agility to double my speed and then use my cunning action to dash, pick her up with my action, and then run back. What?
Yay, Tabaxi.
That's 400 feet. Well, my speed is 50 because monk, and then my tabaxi ability lets me...
My speed's 50 'cause
I'm
monk.
gonna dash, which is 200. Yeah, that's only 200. I clicked my boots of speed in the last combat. That lasts for 10 minutes. My speed is 400 right now. Right, well, with blinding speed, you save your sister.
400 feet in 6 seconds. That's pretty ridiculous.
That's true. Okay, wait. I'll stay there.
That is
and then I'm
some
gonna
the
attack him and do a
Flash
stunning strike.
shit.
But you gotta hit both first, so. Oh, unfortunately, you don't have advantage because it's completely dark in this room. I have dark vision. Well, then it's a normal roll. You still
You
wouldn't
don't
see
have
if it's
dark
completely
vision, are you
dark,
even
then I'm
playing?
invisible. Shadow monk. Right. 25. That hits. 21 magic damage, and he needs to roll a con save because I'm gonna do a stunning strike. I'm not even gonna question bonus actions at this point, but he rolled a 22. I'll use my portent to give him a 5. That has a range of 30 feet. You are on the ceiling. Yeah, you said we could be on the ceiling. Well, unfortunately, Rakshasas are
Incorporating the Z-axis is a mistake all DMs make eventually.
See, I think I know why these guys are
Oh, it's
so
not a
high
spell.
level.
It's an ability I have for being a divination wizard. Of course it isn't. Okay, cool. He's stunned.
Ha!
Okay, it's his turn. He's stunned. Now it's the end of his turn, so he's no longer stunned. So, no, that lasts until the end of my next turn. Of course it does. Okay, Barbubazar, it's your turn. I drop from the
Yeah, get
ceiling.
ready, Brainy.
All right,
It's
but
coming.
You take 3d6 damage and use my reaction to cast Featherfall. Right. Then I'm gonna rage and then turn into a tiger. Amazing. Okay, Sir Chad, it's your turn. I also fall from the ceiling. Okay, so you take... Featherfall affects up to 5 creatures within 60 feet, so...
Oh my god!
Right, but you're raging, so you can't concentrate on spells. It's not concentration.
Well, you wouldn't need to concentrate on the spell because somebody else casted it.
Then I'm going to attack the foul
It's hard for
demon.
me to tell because they're all the
Is
same
he
person.
a foul demon? Like, is he a fiend? Yeah, he is. I'm going to use my bonus action to give myself a 3rd level branding smite. Then I'm going to attack and use a 4th level divine smite. And then I'm going to use my great weapon master. Ah, but you'll have a
I like
minus
the cut
5
of
to
this
your
guy's
roll, so
jib.
this might be a little difficult
A lot
for
of
you.
smiting.
Actually, I'll use my channel divinity guided strike to give myself plus 10 to the roll. Oh, and I have advantage because he's stunned.
This is why you need to know what everything that your characters can do, everything your players can do.
Right. That's why I peeked at all your character sheets.
Congratulations! You got a plus 10 to your roll, advantage a million. Use all the spell slots you have to smite this guy into oblivion. It's not like I spent hours preparing this section!
I appreciate this DM.
Nice. Oh my god, nice.
I empathize with his plight.
Fenris Sultan says, to be fair, this is why you don't have only one enemy against the party.
Very true.
Definitely not.
You want to have a whole lot of moving parts.
And welcome to the stream, by the way.
His AC could be higher. What do we use? Thaco? Okay, that is...
We were talking about you earlier just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Another trick I've also learned is give players things they can't do with their combat abilities.
Okay, I'm going to attack again.
Oh boy.
Blows.
DM just snapped, guys.
And a 17. Both miss. Now,
Without
he's pretty
turning
long, pretty
into
sure
a
you guys can
D&D horror
legendary
story.
Yes, the
action.
hunter has become
What?
the hunted.
He's going to use his legendary action to cast Dominate Person on you. Rakshasas have legendary actions? I didn't think they had those. Plus, he's stunned. You ended your turn. Okay, could I have stunned him on my turn just now?
That's why you change monsters too.
He can cast a spell with his legendary action. This one can. I got a... Ooh. Can anybody help out with this? You get a +5 from my aura. Oh, God, nice. Yeah,
+5 from my
16.
aura.
Time to switch to Munchkin Kiss.
You are now charmed by the Rakshasa, and he commands you to attack Sir Chad. This is so dumb. Well, I have still some mind I can use it on my next turn to not be charmed anymore. So it's now his turn. He's going to attack Barbuazard with his claw. 27. Jeez, yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Okay.
That's a plus 25 to that roll. That's amazing.
The pause was the best part there.
You see not one, but 6 separate claws.
I think
I
this
relate
might be
to the
my
rage.
Adventures
What
League
even
guy
is
after
this?
maybe about
This
6 or 7
is
sessions.
74 damage. What?
Just like what Harkham said, I 100% empathize with this DM.
Exactly half, and I'm resistant.
Sometimes you just want to
I
win.
immediately drop down to my tiefling form with no damage taken to mage.
Sometimes you just have to tell your players, F you, the Xenomorph shows up.
Oh no, this is terrible.
Rocks fall, everyone dies, and then everybody in the players list has rocks immunity.
It's psychic damage. You wouldn't. I did. That's not fair! You can't do that! You're just breaking the rules just to make the game harder! Oh. Is your character dead? No! Are you below half HP? No! I have 56 HP.
I like this argument.
Wow.
That's his turn. I'm gonna cast Contagion on him, giving him Mind Fire so he'll be confused for the entirety of the combat. Gonna roll my...
Oh yeah, exactly. No, Fenris has got it right 100%.
Incidentally, he said that it's not the DM versus the player. The only way to lose at D&D is to not have fun.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's too many people coming into D&D with that. I am going to win D&D mentality, and it's like, no, that's not this kind of game.
Oh, it's the Boromir meme. One does not simply win at D&D.
They can't even be affected by spells lower than 6th, less 6th, less 6th, less 6th. Wait! He's unaffected by spells lower than 6th level.
See, I don't know who to feel worse for.
Honestly, this is just a game session that devolved into the DM versus the players. Like, all parties are to blame for this session being unfun right now.
Yeah, they definitely did that as a team effort.
This video is sponsored by Aurora, the new Kickstarter coming.
That was pretty good. I'm a big fan of that.
Is a campaign setting with new
Then they all showed up next week for the next session.
Character creation rules and lots more. Plus a lot of super cool monsters and dragons. Whoa! The Kickstarter launches May 23rd, so go check it out with the link down below.
I'm gonna attack. Oh, I crit. Okay, he's dead. Yay!
I'm talking about like their general attitude, Fenris. Fenris asking what the players did wrong, with just like interrupting the DM general attitude.
Pretty much, yeah. All right, who wants to learn about Vecna?
And also like getting peeved whenever whatever things didn't seem fair. It's like, well, no, it's to be more engaging.
That's why I like to give my players puzzles and dungeons. Make their brains turn in different ways.
Well, yeah, the combat's not the challenge, it's the
No,
story.
not my brain is what your players would say. So
I long for a D&D group that cares more about the story than like combat encounters and stuff.
That
yeah,
is
maybe it can be this
a
one.
challenge.
I'm hoping so, Brainy. I'm hoping so.
I certainly do prefer role-playing over crunching numbers, if you will.
Well, from your lips to God's ears. As once again, as the DM, is that I hope to be able to fulfill that. All right. Well, anyway, who wants to learn about Vecna?
Certainly. Don't
So
know what a
this is
Vecna
another
is,
one
but that's
from-
why I want to learn.
Yeah. So this is another video from Jordan.
Vecna, the lich turned demigod, turned greater deity, turned back to demigod evil villain. This will be a fun video. This video is sponsored by StartPlaying.games.
That's what you call plot
Have
immunity.
you wanted to play more D&D, but you
Right.
can't find the Dungeon Master or players to do it? Then check out StartPlaying.games. This is a matching service.
Hey, I know that you're
Game
Games.
Master. For one-shots or longer campaigns, you can even choose specific RPG systems to play. You create a custom profile and use search filters that will put you in contact with
Genuinely, I might check
If
this
you can't
out.
find the game you specifically want, you can put in a request for it. Matching DMs with players and vice versa. Plus, game masters, if you are so inclined, you can set up a price for your game mastering time and skill. Players can
Oh, wow.
buy a game master's
have
time,
just
allowing the
rendered
GM to
myself
set their own
obsolete.
rate. Just browsing, there are some really cool.
Oh, no,
benefits.
no, we'll
It
we'll
might
still
be
hang
a
out.
website in the tabletop RPG
No,
community, so
that's
check
only
it out and go play more games. Hello,
Yeah,
everybody.
pay to
Jordan
play
here, the
on this
PH
game
silent,
is
and
only,
on
you
this
know, what,
installment
1,
of
2
D&D lore, I'll be
fish?
talking about Vecna, made famous from the
Can of
Greyhawk
cream.
campaign setting. Greyhawk was Gary Gygax's original
That's
D&D
not too
setting,
bad.
and a lot of these
Gygax on
famous
high,
heroes and
may his
villains
20s
come from
always
those
be natural.
modules and early games. Vecna was actually a set of magic items for
And your
all
failures,
the world's
never
internal
critical.
coolest villains in D&D history. Vecna
Praise
is an
be.
anagram of Vance, specifically Jack Vance, author of The Dying Earth, whose stories heavily inspired the early feel of Dungeons & Dragons. Vecna is not based on mythology or folktale like many monsters in D&D, rather he's an original construction for the Greyhawk setting. An expansive backstory that has evolved several times. It can be a bit much, but we are learned folks though, and remember, I believe in you. Together, we shall understand the vile creature that is Vecna.
I'm
You
glad
might
you
remember
respect my
Vecna from your
intelligence.
favorite Critical Role episodes, or maybe you're just familiar with the legendary artifacts in the DMG, the Hand and Eye of Vecna. Those artifacts first appeared in Supplement 3, Eldritch Wizardry in 1976. The description was, the
Wow.
soul remains of an ancient lich who was so powerful that he was able to imbue his hand with wondrous, horrible powers, and enabled it to survive even after his long undead body had ceased to exist. The story of
Who's up
Vecna
for
goes all the
Shadow
way back to
Puppets?
2nd edition, where he was
I'm
the
in,
focus
let's do
of
this.
3 amazing adventures. Vecna Lives in 1990, Vecna Reborn in 1998, and Die Vecna Die in 2000. In the first adventure, there is a
Big
section
deal,
on
you know,
the
Freddy
history
Krueger's
of
got
Vecna,
like 12 of
but
those.
it is written with truth.
Yeah, Die Vecna
conviction,
Die
and
sounds like a hot metal
Vecna
album.
is designed to be mysterious.
though.
His origins could be very purposeful
A
and
metal
engaging,
German
like
band.
finding out he was the son of Obi-Wan Kenobi, or you could
Die.
mess it up and he's
Die.
Palpatine's granddaughter. Either way,
Yeah, they're
take this
open for
mythology with,
Rammstein.
and change it up.
Someone's
for
got
your
a
own
bit
game
of
if you wish.
sequelitis.
Vecna was a human or perhaps half-elf from the earliest historical recordings in Greyhawk. He was a very powerful wizard.
Even
was
he didn't
cruel
know he
and
was a
strict.
half-elf.
He used his magic to build and control a great kingdom in Greyhawk. It is rumored his actions are what created the Bright Desert. He was evil and powerful, but old age came for Vecna as it comes for all mortal beings. Vecna defied this and felt it was his right to live forever. He searched long and far to overcome death. There are no accounts, no eyewitnesses to how Vecna became immortal, but he did. Some say he created a spell that allowed him to confront his own death, and in doing so, he imprisoned it. The death of Vecna would never arrive until released by Vecna himself. Others believe he offended the gods of the multiverse so much they cursed him with eternal life, never able to rest and move into the afterlife. Another theory is Vecna was
you
taught
can
dark
make me
and forbidden
deathless.
magic from the demon lord Orcus.
I think I
Afterwards,
found
he
the other
experimented with becoming a
immortality
lich, and in
method.
doing so transformed himself into the
Yes.
most powerful
Reverse
lich,
psychology.
a perfect lich, perhaps, whatever that could mean. Many believe
It worked
his
for the
secrets
Norse
are
gods. I
carried
don't
in the
see
Book of
why
Vile
it wouldn't
Darkness,
work for
which he
anyone
wrote
else.
certain sections of. Regardless, Vecna's body decayed and withered, but he remained on the prime material plane, and in Greyhawk became known as the greatest of all liches. His name became a Voldemort, and the people that knew of him were scared to speak his name for fear he might be summoned. Known as the Whispered One, the Master of the
So,
Spider
I
Throne,
can't say
Undying
Vecna in this
King,
crowd,
and
but
the
I will
Lord
say
of the Rotted
Voldemort.
Tower. Vecna found a young
Oh, crap, now I
half-demon
said
that
You
was
just
supposed to
said
take
both.
an apprentice. His advisors
You
told
Now we're
him
gonna
that
have
he was
Vecna and
he
Voldemort.
was killed, and that
Total
he would
Congratulations.
be known as a Serac.
You just played
Eventually,
yourself.
A Serac, in awe of Vecna, became a lich as well. Later, Acererak created the Tomb of Horrors and was an antagonist in Tomb of Annihilation for 5e, and is found on the 5th edition Dungeon Master's Guide. For more info on him in the top right corner and in the description below. Now that Vecna was a Lich, he was becoming more powerful, and his interests changed. He could take over Greyhawk and rule it, but now with Eternal Life, he didn't see the end goal. Enter Cass the Bloody-Handed. Vecna hired Cass to be a lieutenant who ruled
That's a
and
terrifying
handed out
human.
judgments to the citizens
Yes.
while Vecna researched
A
and
match.
became more withdrawn.
Very pointy.
Cass was
Well, you know
given a
every part of
magical
him except for
sword
his
called
face.
The Sword of Cass, also found
I
in the
think
DMG,
even his
and
nose
it
and his
was a
chin are
magical
pointy.
weapon crafted like no other. Rumor was that Vecna took the iron from a frozen star
Human
and using
cactus.
the flames of the sun forged the Sword of Cass. This was a sign of Cass's authority, and the people knew to respect him as they would Vecna. The sword was 100% evil in every way, and we don't know if this was an intentional side effect, but the sword was sentient. The Sword of Cass would whisper to Cass, and
The sword
tell
was
him
so
he was
evil it
greater
would
than
leave the
Vecna,
bag
that he
open
should
on the
destroy
bread,
Vecna
leaving it to go
and be the
stale.
true ruler
No.
of his kingdom. Cass finally did it.
That's horrible.
Using the Sword of Cass, they battled. No one was witness to this battle, or if they were, they died during the fight. Eventually, the Black Tower...
The sword was so
of Vecna
evil it replaced the
crumbled
toilet
to
paper
dust.
with
And
duct
when the
tape.
people went looking through the debris, they found the Sword of Cass, Vecna's hand, and Vecna's
have
eye.
sympathy
All
for
Cass
organic
was never
troubles.
found and was presumably destroyed. However, it was discovered later that he was banished into the Domain of Dread, a place
The
called
sword was
Covidius.
so
The
evil
Domains of
it
Dread
left
come from
Limp
Ravenloft,
Bizkit
and
on
Cass was
repeat.
transformed from
That
the
place
energy of
looks
the
like
plane
the
into
opposite
a
of
vampire.
Cavendish.
More on him as the plot unfolds. The hand and eye of Vecna have made their magical presence known and wander around the multiverse, causing evil and suffering. Attempts to destroy the two final pieces of Vecna proved impossible. Something kept them intact. Some say it is the will of Vecna that doesn't allow these artifacts to be destroyed. With
Others say it was
Vecna gone,
Skarsgård.
Acererak was ripe for taking over Vecna's empire, but instead he went off to a swamp, obsessed with becoming a lich. The legends of Vecna, or the
So
relics of his
Shrek?
hand and eye, started acquiring worshippers in Greyhawk.
Everything
The
comes
cult
back
of
to
Vecna
Shrek
grew,
for you.
and after a long time and a long
Just because
process,
it was the first
Vecna
book you
returned
read.
as a minor demigod. Fully
Just saying,
immortal now
maybe
because
he
of his
should
deity
call himself
status, he was
Shrek
never
now.
satisfied and wanted to become a greater god.
Yes,
In
yes,
order to do
all
this, he
powerful
needed
being should call
worshippers
himself Shrek
and
now.
had his followers create some magical items that were planted across Earth, the world of Greyhawk. Once activated, a magical web would be created that prevents other gods from reaching their followers. With worship having no benefits, he would swoop in and become the only deity to be worshipped. In order to succeed, though, Vecna needed to find his hand and eye, which were the key components to making the spell work. This is the main plot for Vecna Lives. The introduction of this adventure explains running the module as a horror movie with surprise and suspense. Vecna should be too powerful for the characters to fully attack. You were encouraged to be smart about it. There is a brief section telling the Dungeon Master to get over their fear of killing characters. If Vecna is
Okay,
going to
who
be
wants
the
to
big
manage
bad
this
evil
one?
guy of the campaign, if
Let's do
he
it.
is going to be the ultimate villain, if he is eventually going to be rated the #1 villain of all time in Dungeons & Dragons, then it needs to be played seriously. One thing I really enjoyed about Vecna Lives is the game doesn't end with the players losing. Outlined in the end chapters are two scenarios for the players going forward. One where the players save Greyhawk and potentially the universe, and another where they lose. Vecna wins, and the world is changed forever. If you're interested in the 2nd edition adventure, I'll put a link in it in the description where you can pick up a PDF copy. It details some potential quests to destroy the hand and eye of Vecna that I found fun. You could take the eye to the heart of the Sea of Dust and roast it in flames of the oldest red dragon in Earth. The hand
With a
could be
little bit of
carried to the
graham
positive
cracker
material
and some
plane
chocolate.
by one who has never experienced fear. Or take both of them to the Golden
Soul
Forge,
s'mores.
which resides
The
in the heart of the
s'mores of
Greyhawk
Vecna.
Sun. My favorite, though, is encasing the eye in volcanic glass from hell and shattering it against the Greyhawk crystal sphere via a Spelljammer ship. Stay
Oh,
tuned
wow.
and subscribe. Next week we'll talk about the adventure
Wow.
of Vecna Reborn.
Everything
jumping
goes
out
back
of
to,
IP.
If you
yeah,
live in the future,
I
you
was.
can
I don't know about
probably
you
click
guys,
the
but I
link
was
that will
expecting
take you to the next
Spelljammer
video.
again.
Thanks again.
I wasn't.
Oh, absolutely.
That one came out of nowhere for me.
Online games, it seems, and
No
Start
one
Playing Games
expects
lets
the
you find players
Spelljammer.
or dungeon masters in your area.
Or throw
anywhere
the
online.
eye of
Check 'em
Vecna
out.
into a
Make
bag of
profile
holding
and
and then
start
throw
playing
that bag
games.
of
I'll be
holding
back next
into
week.
another.
I don't want to destroy
Another
the
and another and another, like a Matryoshka doll of deviousness. Alrighty, folks. So we probably only have time for one more video, but I have saved the best for last. Everybody, pull out your Brainios cereal, get cozy up in front of your round tube television, because we are watching Eye of the Beholder from the original Dungeons and Dragons cartoon.
Oh shoot! Really?
Mm-hmm.
of beauty in the valley.
Oh my god!
I'm gonna want to start that from the beginning.
Hey, look! A Dungeons and Dragons ride!
Oh my gosh. This takes me up.
Wow, neat!
Give me a break.
I don't like this!
Whoa! What's happening?
Whoa! Where are we?
Look out!
You know,
Fear
Tiamat.
not, Ranger,
He's got nothing better to do than to
Barbarian,
hunt down a bunch of
Magician,
kids.
Thief,
Look, it's the first isekai.
Cavalier, and Acrobat.
Cavalier without a horse and a shield. Makes sense.
Without a horse, without a spare.
Oh no, there's the horse.
Yeah, it's just too tiny for anybody to run.
Who was that?
That was Venger, the force of evil. I am
Oh no,
Dungeon
that's a griffin
Master,
on the
your
shield.
guide
You want
in
to
the
talk
realm
about
of
malicious
Dungeons
Masters,
and
you gotta love this
Dragons.
guy.
Yeah.
He's going for like TPK on these kids. Like, they're just children.
It must be 120 degrees in the shade, and there isn't any shade.
You can say
So
that.
they're in Arizona.
With 4 suns up there, what'd you guys expect?
That definitely looks like the Arizona landscape.
I faced the same situation on safari
The
once. I
jagged,
was lost. The sun was baking my brain.
teeth-like
So that's what happened to your
protrusions from the ground.
Then
Definitely
what'd you do,
screams Arizona.
Simple. Called Dad on the walkie-talkie, and our gardener picked me up in the golf cart.
In Africa?
I
No,
have
in my
money.
backyard.
Listen, Dungeon Master told us to keep moving toward the setting suns, and that means this way.
See, this is unrealistic. Players doing what the Dungeon Master told them to do.
I say we go any way we want to.
I mean, players arguing too is a highly realistic thing too. So
They got that right. 10 out of 10.
But it looks like the whole party is all there, and you know that's very unrealistic because you know the wizard, you know, his kid had a recital, so he couldn't show up today, and
oh man, that thing is actually terrifying.
Scorpion, catching up faster? Sounds like trouble. Many gads.
Oh, look at that. The NPC being useless. That's realistic.
also very realistic.
NPCs are just guys.
Close one.
Okay, now go over and get him in the back.
Quick! Get in here! That scorpion's too big to come in after us.
So he knew the dragon was there, but he owes him money.
That scorpion is like, I am going to rock you like a hurricane.
Aha, Scorpion Hurricane. I got the reference.
See, if this was a more adult series, this would be an example of the power of the dragon and scorpion.
Yes. Oh, the party adopting the NPC. That's absolutely spot on.
Hello?
It's gone! The scorpion's gone!
Look! There's a knight!
He must have saved us! How can we ever thank him?
Sure.
Thank me? For what? For driving away that giant scorpion.
Oh, that is definitely something that I did.
Nothing. All in a day's work for a night, you know?
Yes, totally something that I deliberately planned and executed.
Yeah, dummy. Night school. Get it? Well, I best be on my way.
Shut the.
You be careful out here. No telling what you may run into.
But who are you?
They call me Sir John, official protector of the village of Pindrake, and battler of beasts, dragons, and demons!
His voice gets quieter and quieter as he runs away from the party.
Did you hear what he said? No telling what we may run into. No telling? Ah! Dungeon Master! Do you always have to do that?
No, not always.
Only when
Oh, it's
Yoda
fun.
does it
Found
first.
a possible way for you to get home. but it is very dangerous.
What isn't dangerous around here?
Go on, Dungeon Master.
Far to the east, there is a sad and desolate land. It is known as the Valley of the Beholder.
Yuck! It looks horrible!
Party goes west instead.
It was once the most beautiful valley in the realm. Until the Beholder came.
What is a beholder anyway?
The Beholder is a foul and evil beast who came up from the underworld and destroyed all things of beauty in the valley.
Ew, gross.
So we're not going to get into any talk about omniscience and the
It is the
multiverse.
Beholder who guards the passageway to your birth world.
Well, no, they're definitely not being railroaded
Not just me.
to their next destination at all.
And remember, sometimes by looking back, you can see a clearer path through what lies ahead.
Oh, brother, here he goes again.
But beware, for only beauty can defeat the eye of the beholder.
Ah!
Oh no, beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
There's gotta be like 20 modules named that.
What you doing, Bobby?
Mostly fan-made.
Backwards to see forward.
Of course, the barbarian would take that instruction literally.
Sir John.
Yeah, well, sometimes Dungeon Master... Wait! That's it! Sir John is in our past, but he may be the key to our future.
That's right. Anybody brave enough to take on that scorpion ought to have an easy time with the beholder.
No, you just have to go
What
west.
if somebody else can fight the creepy slime that inhabits the...
No, go ahead,
You just
Brainy.
have to go west. But
go.
you just have to go west.
Oh my god!
That is misunderstanding the Dungeon Master. That's realistic.
Alright, we have to end this session so I can take the next 2 weeks to write what happens in the East.
And it is our intention to hire a new and braver knight to replace you as soon as one can be found.
Oh,
Father,
snap.
not again. There are no villages left for us to go to.
Mr. Mayor, sir.
Why am
will
I
you
so
not
lame?
reconsider? I mean, my boy and I, it's just that we...
Well, I suppose if you were to perform an act of extreme bravery, finally, we might consider letting you stay.
Oh, he will, Mr. Mayor, he will.
Yes.
The mayor was like, yeah, what we're going to need you to do is come in on Saturday and Sunday.
Fill out those TPS reports, okay?
Being a professional hero is a full-time job. Sometimes you gotta put in overtime.
Mushrooms, Eric. This place gives me goosebumps.
Just stick together.
Yeah, no telling what we might run into. What's that?
I don't know, but it didn't sound friendly.
A throwaway encounter made to bolster the experience points of the party.
Come on in, I love to entertain.
Right? No problem. Piece of cake.
He had cake in his hat this whole time.
Not this
The
whole
hat of
time, but
holding.
only when it was funny.
Well, whatever they are, the light hurts their eyes.
Rita?
That's not a cantrip in this generation. How dare you
That's level
waste a
2
spell slot?
conjuration, actually.
Yeah, I wasted a spell slot for that.
No, you don't waste spell slots for it.
I agree with name I'm gonna have a hard time pronouncing.
Yeah, and losing. Powers that come and go in the night. Banish these snail things from my sight. Hey! Get this thing off of me!
Hell, you can't see them with a bucket on your head.
You know what? You gotta be more specific with your incantations, let me tell you.
See, that incantation was sponsored by a demon. That's how that works. A fiend.
Which is why you don't buy wizards' hats off Craigslist.
Anybody ever seen a snail or a unicorn?
No, I don't subscribe to those corners of tube.
You do, it's just very, very slow.
Also, I'm genuinely surprised the barbarian hasn't tried to eat the unicorn yet.
I'm picturing Richard Attenborough being like, this is the unicorn. He is very majestic. And here comes the flesh-eating snail.
Barbarian
Oh,
thinks
no.
it's a mutant donkey and uses it as a pack mule.
Craftsman says, oh no, mollusk porn? I've seen
Yeah,
enough 80s Saturday morning cartoons to know where this is going.
I don't subscribe to those corners of the internet.
You gotta pay too much for that. I mean, what?
What? Me?
If it's 80s cartoons, you know it's gonna contain that that sound effect we heard earlier. That wow. That was like stock 80s cartoon sound effect.
I still use that sound effect in my editing.
I swear, every cartoon from the 80s used the same sound bank library.
Well, yeah, they all buy it from Hanna-Barbera.
Nobody in the party apparently has any salt.
It's not in your standard adventures pack, to be fair.
The wizard probably has salt, but the wizard has obviously wasted all of their spell slots.
Is cake ever really a waste of a spell slot?
Yes.
No.
Yes. Here, we don't have much, but please accept
yes
this flower as a
and no.
sign of our thanks.
But well, thank you for bestowing such a great honor on an old knight, my lady.
Actually, Sir John, you saved us the trouble of coming to find you.
Find me? What for?
Well, we
want you to take us to the Beholder.
The Beholder? That would require great bravery.
That's why we want you.
Flower's the same shaded as his tunic.
You're the bravest man we've met since we've been in this
Yes.
world.
I am?
A horse
Well,
says
of
BS.
course, but great, then you'll do it. What? But first I'll have to go back and get my shield.
wait. Presto can conjure you up a shield.
Powers of magic that come with the dawn. Make up a shield for brave Sir John.
And then
Wow, it actually
died
worked!
From third-degree burns.
Brother. Sorry.
Here you go,
Oh, it's a trash can lid.
Your very own.
That's totally appropriate.
Well, I couldn't. That is, I mean, thank you, but
It's the shield of refuse.
Please, Sir John, it's our only chance to get back to our world.
what do you mean?
Never mind, it's a long story. We'll tell you on the way.
Oh, very well. To the Beholder it is! Oh, Beholder indeed. I must be crazy. Nice Beholder.
I mean, I think we already established
Sir John.
that.
What?
No, he's a coward. He's not crazy.
What is it, my boy?
Don't you think we should have a plan?
A plan? Well, yes, good idea. A plan. You think of one while I scout ahead.
What? You're the knight? That's stupid.
A plan won't do us any good if
Somebody
the
had to say it.
surprises us, now will it? You make a plan and
To be fair, the party asked an NPC for a plan.
I think this guy's nutty as
That
a
is
fruitcake.
very true. He had to flip it back on the party somehow.
If I don't, my boy and I will be sent away. What am I going to do?
You are going to do exactly as you're told.
Avenger!
You will escort those children to the Beholder as they wish.
That does not look
and
like
then
Nick
you will
Fury.
leave them there.
What? I am
I'm
a
here
coward,
to
but
tell
those
you
children,
about the Dungeons and Dragons
the Beholder?
initiative.
I can't. I won't.
You will, Sir John, coward.
Help me, Father!
So he finds bravery due to the fact that he's been blackmailed.
My son!
I am brave due to extenuating circumstances.
I think we're all brave due to
Sir John, there is little time to waste.
Honestly, like kidnapping the child is a really good motivator.
Yeah, like if he wanted to like really, make this guy, fold into himself, you don't harm his kid. You leave his kid be and you just, I don't know, like go about your normal business and be evil. Because the guy's like already, a wuss on his own, so you don't give him anything to, rally behind.
Well, he's using his son as a motivation to kill the children.
Well, if it's
I can't believe that sentence just came out of my mouth.
Let's go.
Oh, murdering children was all the norm in the 80s. It was like 90% of 80s fiction.
You said you'd go with us to the Beholder. And I have. I never said I'd fight him. The rest is up to you.
But Sir John, I thought you were a brave knight.
Yeah. Yes, I know.
Yeah, I know you thought that.
Wow.
Anyway, you kids have fun.
At least he got us here.
I'm gonna go eat some chicken out here.
Surprisingly strong narrative from the coward.
What a chicken!
If he was any more chicken, he'd sprout drumsticks.
Oh, what's that?
Well, at least he has
Must
chicken.
be the Beholder.
I think that's what you were saying.
Yes. 11 herbs and spices.
This Beholder is surprisingly less well read than I thought he'd be.
Yeah, he didn't waste any time with any kind of exposition or I am the Beholder or any of that. He just came out and started shooting.
Definitely would have said something like, "My name is and you were entered my domain, and I don't like you, and you're going to die."
Yeah, no, they must be in Texas because he just started shooting.
Somebody is only looking at the pictures of the monster.
So anyway, I started blasting.
Oh, don't mess with the Beholder here, now I tell you what.
Shot him, and then I missed. And I shot him again, and then I missed.
Wow, a villain who honored his word?
Of course, he's not a monster.
Nothing at all.
His appearance would suggest otherwise.
Someone needs our help.
Timothy.
Real monsters are the humans. They're ugly on the inside.
Maybe the real monsters are the friends we made along the way.
That is the truest statement I've ever heard.
Didn't we already do this back with the slugs?
Can't you do anything? I can't reach my hand.
Maybe the slugs are the friends we made along the way? No, I don't think
Nope.
No, they were terrible. They sucked.
Poor kid. This is gonna be a disappointing day for
Well, they
him.
were vampire slugs.
Step back. I've got work to do.
I don't believe it.
Neither does the Beholder. Look!
Oh, he didn't see that coming.
Nip.
You'll not finish my first real battle this quickly, Beholder.
I don't get it. How did Dungeon Master think Beauty could defeat the Beholder?
That's it! The flower! Sir John! The flower I gave you! Show the Beholder the flower!
The flower? Where's the flower?
This is the worst way to defeat an enemy.
I feel like this is not how you defeat a Beholder.
No, but it is because plot device.
Go for it!
Quickly! You haven't
Hey, there's there was that salt on slug effect we were looking for earlier. Apparently, flower on Beholder is like salt on slug. So.
She doesn't belong in our world. She'll have to stay with Sir John. Hurry!
But I don't want to leave her here with anybody. Not even him. Hey!
Venger!
I've come up to conveniently thwart the outcome of this.
Using my dopey shield to fight Venger?
Oh no, it's Deus Ex Machina. I mean, Avenger.
I can almost taste those hamburgers.
All analogies will get you every time.
What are you guys waiting for? Come
And now, to be rid of you, Sir John. Once and for all.
Then watch the party abandon the main quest to save the NPC. It's like in the game.
I'm afraid that won't be so easy after all, Venger.
But the NPC became the main quest.
What's this?
This is called a rescue, Venger.
Those rocks fell off of that mountain as though that they were not painted on a different cell.
After an animation degree.
I don't believe what I'm doing.
There's that noise again.
But now what?
I'll get you next time, Samurai Jack.
Wow, that was
Team Rocket's blasting off again.
But then who did
Next time,
How
Jack.
can we ever thank you?
Well, why don't we just call it even,
Next
Sir John?
time.
This somehow doesn't feel as though it would beautify the environment.
I'm not following anything that's happening at all.
Oh, it's easy. You show a flower to a beholder, it turns into goo, and it turns everything into grass.
Fenris brings up another good point. Why not use the shield against the beholder?
This has not been proved with a.
I don't think it was, like, to be fair, I don't think it was accurate or any, I don't want to say any good, because of course this defined the generation. But, like, Brainy said it best, someone's just looking at the images on the Monster Manual.
Oh, yeah. I mean, everybody knows that you cannot liquefy the beholder and, you know, use it to fertilize the lawn.
So is the plot point of like monsters running away from Sir John ever explained?
I mean, you know, maybe they just find him a lot more frightening than they're capable of being themselves.
Oh yeah, a blue dragon and a giant scorpion run away.
Alrighty, folks. So this concludes our broadcast day. Thank you to Brainy's party for joining me for tonight's stream. Thank you to Sen. Thank you to Sen. Thank you to Harkham. Thank you to Autodoc Blue 37. So thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in to Brainy the RPG Cat. So thank you very much to our sponsor, The Great Games, as that I'll put the TCG link up again. I say be sure to follow that link to get 10% off of your online purchase using the code 10finity at checkout. And so thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I am going to find somebody very quickly in order to do a raid on Twitch. I think I would like to pay a visit to, let me see, let's go on over to Griffin Moore's channel. I think he's in the middle of playing a game of Gartic Phone. So, all right, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into the stream. Tomorrow, I am going to be on doing a massive unboxing stream. We're going to unbox several sports cards from All Seas Collectibles and the new Streets of Capenna Magic the Gathering set. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and good night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Have a good night.